now. Hey guys, happy Shenmue Day. Hope you're all doing well on this Tuesday evening, 4th of March. I am Matt as always, and James is with me. How are you doing, man?
James in the house, welcome. I don't know why I'm welcoming. How are you doing, Matt? You okay?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Enjoying the second day of some extended leave from work, which is always nice. So,
Ooh, lovely.
I have the month of March. To be honest, getting my car fixed, which cost a fucking fortune, but never mind. It is what it is. But at the moment, I haven't seen us trending on Twitter. However, I have seen us trending on the top 30 trends on Blue Sky at the moment. It's the highest we've been. Second month that we've been trending over there already. So that is already a good start to the evening. We'll keep an eye on things as we move through. If anybody happens to notice us trending over on X or anywhere else, do pop us a message in the Discord or pop a link to an Imager link or something so that we can pick that up as we go through the stream itself. But we have at least been picked up on Blue Sky, which is fantastic. And hopefully we'll get picked up on X again very, very shortly. We're going to start with a news section. It's going to be quite a lengthy news section as well before we say hello to everybody in the chat as well. But yeah, man, it's been weirdly busy, hasn't it? It's the only way I can describe things. It's just funny.
Well, there's always something going on. We said it quite a few times. It's good in a way that there's always something we talk about and just keep the Shenmue sort of news train going occasionally. Obviously we're going to get to it in a little bit, but like just little things just you hear about. Oh, there's a new piece of merchandise coming out soon. And you know, then that triggers that, and then obviously we've got the limited run games second wave that they're going to be doing soon, the Shenmue 2 line of merchandise. We need to keep an eye out on that. Obviously we've got Steel Paws coming this month, which I'm excited about personally.
Yes.
And then, yeah, the artwork thing just randomly just happened start of the year. And then that's sort of filtered into providing a little bit of Shenmue news. So there's been quite a lot of things recently, despite the lack of anything like publicly official in a sense. I know NN Games are doing the Shenmue 3 stuff this year as well. So it's insane, really, isn't it?
It is. And obviously we don't know what's happening with that yet as well. That could literally, they could just drop a bombshell any minute for all we know. And then all hell breaks loose again, and your life becomes consumed with more Shenmue stuff. But, again, as you say, because things just keep moving, it keeps everybody engaged, keeps us going, and I think just keeps the content flowing, which is what we want. So, I'm going to dive into the first piece of news myself. I say it's news. Yep. It's probably not news, but it's something.
It's an interesting sort of
something worth looking at as well. I've got to find the tweet, but buried down in the flipping.
And that was like, you know, just popped up out of nowhere, didn't it?
I'm going to get to it when I can find the fucking image. Oh dear. There we go. Right, that's what I wanted. Right, so early last week, Michael Huber tweeted out saying that he was in the UK. Which is quite rare. So for those of you who know who Huber is, obviously he's part of Easy Allies, was part of Game Trailers before, been in and around the journalism, games industry for a long time. Huge Shenmue fan. I think most of us here will have seen his reaction to the Shenmue 3 announcement and everything else. So he tweeted out to say he was in the UK early last week. Now, for those of you who went to the 2023 Easy Allies meetup, I missed that. I found out about it way too late. And I couldn't get there. It's just far too late. I missed everything. I think Flagship went to it, which was cool. But again, there we are. So he's tweeted out just saying, look, is anybody around in the UK? I'm in London. Do they want to sort of meet up and hang out? So I dropped him a message, just say, yeah. Because my office, when he was free, was on the Wednesday. My office for work, it's about an hour from London, if that, 45 minutes. So it's quite an easy drive in for me. So I said, yeah, I'm around, sorted something out, and away we went. So I met up with him and had probably a good half an hour, 45 minutes with him sort of on my own before the people turned up as well. Because I think a steady stream of people who went to NQ64 over in Soho. If you've ever been there, it's very interesting. It's like an arcade type bar place. They play a lot of 90s rap music. Now, I was never into 90s rap music, so for me it was my idea of hell. But all the
I
same,
remember it being super, super loud when we were in there before.
it wasn't
unbearably loud.
It wasn't too bad when we were there, but this was a Wednesday night, so you can sort of take or leave a Wednesday night, I guess, but it was semi-busy. Excuse me. So, had the privilege of meeting up with Huber, had a good chat with him. First thing he asked me was, what's happening with Shenmue 4? I was like, well, even if I knew what was happening, I couldn't say anything anyway. But had a good chat. I showed him, which we'll come on to the artworks in a minute. I showed him a little preview of some of the artworks that James, myself, Nathan, David DeVille, and Chow from Shenmue Photos have managed to get hold of. We'll talk about that separately. And yeah, I just had a really good chat with him. Absolute legend of a bloke. I've got so much time for him. He's just so approachable, so friendly. Really cares about the Shenmue community as well. He did say to me that he tries to follow everything that goes on, but because he's so busy, he's in and out of doing previews, streams, podcasts, and everything else. He finds it quite hard to keep up. But always says, keep him in the loop with things. So I had a good time. Good to talk to him. I took this cheesy photo. Well, someone took it for us. That's me in my work clothes, having bombed it from the office straight over to London. Met up with Huber, played some arcade games, went to Nando's and went home. I got home by 10:30. Having started, I got up at like...
Go Nando's.
No, he didn't.
Okay.
A few of them stayed on, play arcade games there. But yeah,
nice.
Absolutely good fun. I'm hoping if I'm out in Gamescom, which I'm hoping to get sort of a day and overnight and then go back the following day, I'm hoping if he's out there to catch him again as well. So that was a cool little story. Keeps things going, keeps the whole sort of Shenmue community going, keeps us connected with somebody in the industry who is a big fan, will push the name where he can as well. So yeah, it's all good fun. But that's the opening piece of news.
Unexpected life events that just randomly pop up out of nowhere, right?
I couldn't say no to going. I had to find a way to make it work. I couldn't say no, having missed the meet up from 2023.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely awesome stuff.
Awesome.
And then I think we come on to Phantom Riverstone, James.
Right. So this is a blog post that just popped up today, actually, posted today. Let me just click that link, actually, so I can post it directly into the chat here. So this is an interview translation is done. So this originated in a Japanese Dreamcast magazine back in 1999, October to be precise. And it's an interview with Hazuki Ishigaki, sorry, in Yokosuka. So it's actually on the streets of Dobuita. I guess the original voice actor or actress for Shenmue back in the day. So just really interesting. There's a bit of a profile on the actual actress as such. Obviously at this point, so this is pre Shenmue 2, so sort of teasing a little bit that Shenmue is going to pop up in chapter 1 of the series. So she does have a little bit of a cameo. Is this the actual voice actor, Matt? I'm not too familiar with anyone outside of Matsukaze.
Thought it was because they changed, didn't they?
Okay.
Shenhua's had a lot of voice actresses, hasn't she, over the years?
Yeah.
A lot of them.
They did they change for Shenmue 2? I feel like they probably, like the Japanese one probably would have been the same across both games.
Definitely changed the English, didn't they?
Definitely changed English because it went from like Debbie Rabai to Ashkia Chosen, whatever her name is. But yeah, awesome interview. Just, you know what to expect now from phantomriverstone.com. Definitely check out the interview with Hazuki Ishigaki.
There we go. Beautiful. I'm still trying to see if we're
to move straight onto the figure stuff, Matt.
Yeah, go for it. And I'll get the news post up for it as well.
Yeah. So here we go, guys. So there is kind of what I mentioned a little bit earlier, well, about 5 minutes ago. So there's going to be a new line of Shenmue merchandise called Figgies being released. So essentially what this is a sister brand to First for Figures. So if anyone's ever bought a First for Figure, you can see a couple of statues in the background. Matt's, you can see on Matt's got the Rio on the mirror base. you could just about see on mine in that sort of glass cabinet. These the Rio and Landy ones there, and I don't know if you can sort of see the side profile. I've got two more there. I've got the both of the bases, if you know what I mean. But essentially, that company has released like a sister company called Figgies, and they're hoping to sort of start a new line of merchandise where they can release cheaper magnetic figures somewhat. So they're like pixel characters, magnetic, so you can stick it to any metal surface, or it comes with a nice backing card that's got sort of like the scenery of whatever the character's from, potentially, or if there's a few characters from the line, perhaps some of the backgrounds might join together and make like one massive long display, which is pretty cool. They're the size of a can of Coke, so
yeah, they're pretty good size, aren't
essentially
they?
the figure's going to be well that big. It's not too bad, so you can put them on your desk. It comes with a little stand as well, so you can just plonk them down on a shelf or on a stand or whatever. And it also comes with like a sticky adhesive pad thing that you can stick on, say, your walls, and make some sort of nice character artwork displays. He says that the heroes are always facing to the left and the enemies are always facing to the right, so you can sort of put them together and have them having a bit of a standoff. So I'm assuming that we'd have Rio and Landy facing each other, if that makes sense. And then so the characters that they've announced for the first wave for the Shenmue ones will be Ryo Hazuki, Shenhua, Landy, and Ren. So your typical nice four. I think those were the same four that they used in Sega Heroes, or potentially Tom instead of Landy, actually, I think, for Sega Heroes.
That's right, yeah.
But basically, he was sort of suggesting to vote with your money,
yeah,
in a sense. So if enough people buy these things, and they're only going to be $12.99, which is probably about a tenner UK pounds, it's not too much for each of them, and they're going to be releasing the 4 at once, so you could just buy the lot and save on the shipping sort of thing. Maybe get them all delivered for like 45 quid, for example, $50. Maybe even cheaper than that, actually. I don't know what the dollar to pound ratio is.
I
currently.
don't, but it's
Maybe
probably
more like
it's
£40.
Yeah, it's probably about 40 quid's about right. I think 38, 40 quid,
42 quid, something like that. So you can get all 4, and then I think there was 1,000 units per
yes, that's
figure.
right.
So I'm assuming if they sell out really quickly, for example, like faster than Yu-Gi-Oh or some of the other lines of merchandise that they're sort of targeting, then they'll be like, oh, let's do another line of characters. And he's saying like it's a good engagement. This is Alex, who's like the sort of the owner of this company. He's sort of saying it's a good gauge then for them potentially making a statue of that character or from that series. So obviously we've had Rio and Landy, and then nothing else. They were supposed to be working on like a Rio on a forklift at one point, but that never sort of materialized.
Yeah, it disappeared.
So maybe this could be a good way to sort of indicate that there is still a demand for this series and this merchandise or whatever. So yeah, basically chibi like designs of every just like pixel art. So if you think of like a Street Fighter pixel art, you can sort of picture that in your head, like a Ryu pixel art design, right? Like essentially that kind of look and feel to it. I don't know if Matt can scroll down a little bit on the news post and show off the Sonic one, and then that sort of sort of gives you the look and feel of what sort of thing that you're going to be getting here. You can see the backing card there, which looks really nice for Sonic. We've gone for the Green Hill stage, or you can just sort of spin the card over and magnet him to his sort of logo and whatnot. And there's also an added incentive in a sense of buying. I don't know, maybe you want to buy a couple of these things because there's a 10% chance to get a hidden additional backing. So that backing card that you can see on Sonic there, it's got Green Hill stage. There's an additional backing card chance. So there's like a 6% chance to get a bronze, a 3% chance to get a silver, or a 1% chance to get a gold. So we were thinking like if there's 1,000 units, that means 10 out of the whole 1,000 are going to be gold, or include an extra gold-plated backing card. So, I mean, it's not what I personally want to hear is like a character of everything and all the variants and whatnot, because I'm going to want to have all 3 backing cards per character. So that's going to be 4, 8, 12. It's going to be a lot of money.
It's going to be, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably just it. Like again, just a me problem that. And then there's also a little app compartment or component actually to this as well, where you can sort of track your purchases. There's like QR codes on the back of the figures, so you can add them to your app, and sort like a somewhat of a checklist kind of vibe here. You've got the series of, so it's showing here like the Street Fighter or the Yu-Gi-Oh. If you can scroll down a tiny bit, Matt. Sorry.
Oh,
Again.
hang on. I just lost the page. Let me do it, and I'll scroll back 2 seconds. There we are.
Wait for the stream to catch up my end.
There you are.
Is it on screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to have like the Shenmue logo, I would have thought, and then the 4 characters. So if you only bought one of them, that would be lit up and the others would be grayed out. So it's sort of, again, potential incentive to try and collect them all into it. That's what they're trying to go for here. A bit of a collect them all, Pokemon-esque, complete your Pokédex, your Figgy Dex. And actually, you can sign up to the website right now. It's quite cool actually. It's sort of like a Twitter.
I was about to say, it's its own little social media type place, isn't it? It's fun.
Yeah,
that's very cool.
I've linked it in the chat there, guys. world.figgies.com. Sign up. You can add a profile picture or whatever, and sort of use it as a social media platform. Which
we're on there
in this sort of era of transitioning from like Twitter to Blue Sky, whatever people are doing. It's not a bad shout actually if they can get that going and have like a new social media platform, Figgies, that's kind of catered to our fandoms and the sort of geek culture that we're into. Might be quite nice sort of community rather than going on Twitter and seeing boobies and someone getting beat up on your main screen, if you know what I mean. But yeah, that's that news. I think I've covered that.
You've covered that beautifully. Beautifully indeed. I'm sorry, we haven't trended yet, but I don't know how the fuck we haven't trended yet, because I must have retweeted about 400 fucking posts.
Yeah, we definitely have. It's just Twitter being Twitter again, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it.
So next up, Matt, Steel Paws you've listed in the news, because Matt prepared the news list earlier. So Steel Paws, what were you going to talk about?
So
just that it's coming out this month?
Just a reminder that it's coming out, I believe, on March 25th, Netflix exclusive on Android and Apple devices. There is a beta for Netflix on PC at the moment in terms of being able to play the games on your PC. It will run with touchscreen controls, or from what I gather, it will also run. It will also run using a game controller. So that'll be quite cool as well. So
what game controller can you link up?
So
pair a PS5 controller.
Yeah.
To
so for example, yeah, you can. So I can pair my PS5 controller through to my phone, or I imagine you can do it with an Xbox controller. You can also buy those backbones, can't you, that hook straight in. I'd be surprised.
Peter recommended a backbone.
I'd be very surprised as well if it didn't come to console.
Okay.
But we'll see what happens there. But keep an eye out for it. I'm sure we'll end up getting another trailer. I know last stream we ended up getting a trailer sort of halfway through us doing our tier list, didn't we? Which sort of appended the stream a little bit.
So when's the actual release date? Is it the 24th I've got in my head, or is that wrong?
So they put out the 25th. Then I've seen somewhere say the 27th. It's it's sometime at the end of March, and I intend to stream it whenever it comes out. If it's on the 25th, that's an odd day because I think it's a Tuesday. I suspect it'd be the 27th. If I had to hazard a guess, but I can have a look and just see what Netflix games have said.
So
25th they've put, oddly, Netflix games, but they've posted 2 dates, so work that one out. So I don't. Either way, it's coming out last week of March.
I was going to read the chat, guys, but I was like about 5 minutes behind for some reason. So I've refreshed it again without realising, so I've lost the chat. It's a pain in the arse. I don't know why it doesn't save the chat. doesn't matter. We'll.
I can go through some of it.
I'll catch up on some of the stuff, but yeah, if you want to say hi to people and.
So before, I'll go and say.
Ginger Fairy saying cool story.
Sorry.
I suppose it's.
So that's the Huber stuff. So go through chat, and then we'll come into the last bit of news, which will sort of set us into what we're going to be doing. And I'm going to be playing a bit of Shenmue in the background, because why not? But I can see Tuan Tran. I can see Corporal Dwayne Hicks, Shenmue Village. Mike Schramm Jr. Just going through the chat. Anna Dill's in. I'm sure I've seen Ginger's in. Time Drifter 87, new chatter in. Thank you very much for joining us as well. Going a bit further down, Tiger Swallow Style, welcome in. Hazuki Sensei, welcome in. Vegeta, banging name as well, that's a throwback. Wants Shenmue 5 as well as Shenmue 4. There you go.
Ooh.
Getting your demands in nice and early. Mr. Starwalker, Vivi Gamer is in. There's Ginger. I knew I saw Ginger. Renners is in as well. Going a bit further down, Mike Franz is in. Andy Smith as well. Welcome in. Matt S. Guppy is in. Go a bit further down. Nick of Heavens is in. K&K is in. Oh God, so many of you in tonight. Strictly Sega Europe, Clunky Mage is in. I've seen AM2 podcast. I'm guessing it's Andrew. I can't answer your question because I don't know what you're talking about, quite frankly. But there we are. My brain's not working that well today. Going further down. Naomi Dyer's in as well. Yan Lee is in. Timmy and Tom. That's a new name I don't recognise. Welcome in if it's your first time in. I like the name. It's quite cool. Master Mo is in. Gaz Bailey. And then coming a bit further down, Street Hawk fan in as well. Joe Logic 90. And Scribe is in. Cameron Kirby is in. I'm going to answer. I can't even talk. East Hawk and Sadukans. Artwork Teasers in Teasing Shenmue 4. Welcome in first and foremost. Not quite. Oh, we've just had a hype train started as well. I think we just had a sub from Daily Gaming Videos and James as well.
The other one was me, so yeah.
And welcome to Sean Hastings as well. So that probably then leads us to a bit of a story. Little bit of a story here, which James, I'm going to get you to start with, if I may, while I keep hounding round bloody Twitter. But let's talk Shenmue artwork. Now, we're not going to show everything off tonight because we're still working on everything behind the scenes. But let's set the scene around these artworks and sort of how this has all come about. And I'm going to show 10 images on the screen tonight. And also we've got the books of some of them here with us, and we're going to flick through a few of them as well before we dive into some games as well. So James, take it away. Dive in.
Right. Well, hopefully this comes out okay because I've not pre-prepared anything. But essentially, we spotted a Japanese auction, and in fact there was 3. So the seller was selling a Shenmue folder or a folder full of Shenmue artwork, such as this, for example. There was 3 of them, 3 different auctions. We knew we had to have them, of course, for Shenmue Dojo's purposes, our own sort of collections, and utmost importance, preservation.
Yes.
So
yes,
obviously things get messy with auctions, so it's going to get quite pricey. Very desirable goods such as these. So we banded together, a bit of a team. Me, Matt, David DeVille from Shenmue Master, Chow from Shenmue Photos, and Nathan24, who's a good friend of ours, and obviously part of the Shenmue Dojo. Well, as long as I've been there.
Been around the community for years and years.
Exactly. So really trusted people. We acquired one, obviously, these auctions. They've been shipped from Japan. Thanks to Switch. I'll give Switch a bit of a shout out as well. Banter Riverstone. Switch, of course, sort of helped to get these across all well and good. So they've arrived maybe about a week later. Matt drove down to where I live, Stoke-on-Trent. So had a bit of an adventure day, didn't we, Mike? It was quite good. You got down quite early. I don't think we foresee foresaw, it's probably the better word, how long it was going to take us to do this. So essentially, our intentions were to take all of the artworks. Firstly, we unbox them, and obviously you can see the unboxings on the YouTube channel. I think part 1's up at the moment. Part 2 will probably be this coming Saturday.
Yeah.
And then in 2 weeks after that will be the final part. And we're hoping on that final part video to publicly share everything, all the artworks, etc. So that's kind of what we got lined up there. And there's also another good thing that I'm going to mention about that to come. So essentially, we unboxed the artworks. We then took the 3 folders to a local library where we used their scanner and sort of hogged it for the best part of 3 hours, scanning in all of the artworks individually, just make sure that we didn't miss a single artwork, because there was quite a few stuck within the same sort of sleeves, 3 or 4 different artworks stuck in the same sleeves, which you can see on the unboxing video if you're interested. So that all went quite well. Matt put them on his USB stick. We went Weatherspoons, had a mixed grill. The first time. I've been hearing about the mixed grills being good at Weatherspoons, and actually they were pretty decent. And then we came back to this room, essentially, my office here, and we sort of distributed these artworks between the 5 of us. So this is kind of like my curated folder that I've got here of all the artworks that essentially we sort of picked a few of our favourites, which went quite well. Obviously, we're all friends, so we're quite, no one's bickering between us. There was no bickering.
No, it was all pretty good.
We can have this one. So it was really good. And then obviously the ones, like the majority of the artwork, we sort of just used Wheel of Names to sort of distribute, and it all went quite well. So we've essentially all got a folder. Matt's got a folder, Chow's got a folder, Dave's got a folder of original Shenmue artwork, which is a really nice way of doing it. I think it's sort of sharing that love, and as you'll see, some of the artworks are incredible. So as a big collector, it's just insane history pieces. I do intend, I've said this quite a few times, but I do intend to have like a Shenmue museum at some point. So these are going to be prime on display in front of everyone as they walk through the door, I guess.
Some of this shit is from 1996. This is how old some of this shit is.
Exactly.
And without
going back to like the Sega Saturn days, essentially.
And without these, we wouldn't have found the other renders that were openly available on the internet for 25 years. We knew nothing about.
Exactly.
So it's opened up a big ass rabbit hole of stuff. But these are like, they're unreal.
Gold dust, aren't they?
Absolute gold dust.
So like Matt said, so we did a bit of investigation work on who the original owners owner of this sort of thing would be, but the actual seller was just sort of like a second-hand game store, apparently. So no real leads there. There is names on some of the artworks. I'll keep his name private for now, but essentially it led us to finding a developer or a 3D designer called Hideki Kawabata, which is where those other artworks came from. And some of those artworks are probably...
I'm just getting the page.
Yeah, if Matt can get them up. So I will say now, 95% of these artworks are not very spoilery or anything like that.
Yeah.
Whereas, in a sense, the Hideki Kawabata artworks that are publicly available on his website, I would suggest probably are more spoilery in terms of what they're showing here, because we've got like new character artwork there, Mao, that we've literally just learnt about, this sort of Mongolian tribe lady that Ren happens to know, and also obviously the original artworks of the karate tournament, what they were working on back in the day for what that would have been at the start, or sort of like the prologue to Shenmue 1 before it got cut, obviously.
And there's
and obviously you can see Alder Yanlang in his Dreamcast models, which sort of suggests that they were working on parts of Shenmue 3 all the way back in 1995, 6, all the way to 2001. Seeing sort of the Alder Dreamcast model there you've seen on the screen.
It's mental.
So yeah, insane stuff that this has sort of brought about all this amazing new Shenmue artwork, and it just sort of deepens that sort of wider conversation of what's going to happen in the future of the story as well. Now we can talk about a character that we had no idea about, and in fact, the Mao character actually does have an artwork in these files as well, Matt. So, I probably would have just assumed it was another costume for Shenhua, but now we know it's a separate character.
Yeah, 100%.
It makes sense because there's like 4 of these characters on the same page. These Niao-sun, Chuing, is it Shenhua, and Mao?
Yeah.
On
all on one of these artworks. And what's really funny is David, we've got a Facebook chat with the 5 of us chatting through all this stuff, and David found an old Dreamcast article, I think from Japan, which shows Mao in that fucking image from 1998, and nobody knew who she was.
Yeah.
So
it's madness, isn't it?
And we're going, that's the fucking artwork we found. You know, like it's nuts, isn't it? How this stuff has just been sat there for. I mean, the renders and the character artwork outside of the stuff we've got in our hands, that was sat there for 25 years. Nobody knew. Nobody realised it was there. Yeah, so we've preserved all of that, but that doesn't happen without the auctions that we've managed to get hold of. Now,
no, exactly.
What I am going to do, I think, at this point in time, is I've got 10 images up that I've selected for tonight. I'm going to show them off.
Okay.
So what we've done, as James has said, we've scanned them all in, and then what I've then done through Photoshop is tidied them up to make sure any artifacting from the scanning has been taken away to the best of my ability. I'm obviously not a professional picture photo restorer, but I've done the best I can with the AI in Photoshop, and I think most of the job has come out quite well. I'm going to give myself a pat on the back on that one.
Yeah, I think you've done well there. So essentially what Matt's saying there is we did know they'd be like real thin red line.
Yeah.
Weren't they, like a horizontal red line, which apparently is scanning like dust or something like that, can create these artifacts. So that's what Matt means there. But,
so
look at that one you started with there.
So first one's a sketch of Wong, which is absolutely mental.
So who do we think drew that? Is that a head?
I don't know. I don't know who would have drawn that.
It doesn't look quite like Kenji Miyawaki, does it?
No, it's not.
I'm not sure. It could be how he used to draw. I don't know.
Could be. Could be somebody else. Then you've got a sketch.
Almost looks anime, doesn't it?
It does a bit. You could see where it was coming from there. Then you've got a sketch here of what would have been Akira at the time. And you can see in the top left corner VFRPG and Shenhua. Now, I'm not sure.
She looks a bit angry, doesn't she?
Yeah, she looks like she's telling him off. I'm not sure where they are.
That sort of looks like, are they trying to portray the Great Wall a little bit there? As a squiggly line.
It could.
It does have sort of a Great Wall quality to it in the distance, doesn't it?
It could be. To answer Scribe's question, it took us about 4 hours to scan everything in, and then it probably took me another 5 to 7 hours to touch up the images afterwards to remove the scanning artifacting where I could. So it's probably taken like a good day, like, to do everything properly, like in terms of hours and manpower. But yeah, that's
we kind of want when we release these them to be as good as possible. And you can kind of see just here. I mean, it doesn't look like to me this is a piece of paper. It looks like this is an actual artwork that sort of originated on a computer. If that makes sense.
So again,
the scans are really high quality. 600 DPI.
We did it on the best possible quality. So some of these images like come in at like 35 megabytes. So you can't argue with that in terms of the quality. To answer the question in chat, how good did it feel to scan them in? It was really satisfying, actually. Really satisfying. So
I'd like to say tedious, but I don't think it was tedious at the same time because it was exciting. Even though we were there for like 4 hours hogging this scanner in the library, it wasn't a chore, was it? As such, it was an enjoyable experience.
It was, and actually, to be fair, the people in the library were pretty good as well. They just sort of let us get on with it, didn't they? Now this is random. Next image here. So mixed in with this was some Virtua Fighter 4 concept artwork. So this is one of Sarah Bryant. like an early sort of render of Sarah Bryant. We're not quite sure where it's from, but again, just a nice image. It's quite cool all the same.
Yeah, I mean, to me, when you see that image and you've seen some of the other sort of similar artworks in the folders, it seems like the same team happened to be working on Virtua Fighter 4 potentially at the same sort of time as these files, or at least this. I don't know if it was Hideki or another guy or whatever. This has been his folder. Obviously, you'd assume that this was some of the artwork that he was using or utilizing to create 3D renders, or maybe even drew himself. I don't know if he's that talented that he can sketch stuff and then model it in 3D. I don't know. But yeah, Sarah Bryant, yeah. Oh,
just randomly, oddly, the hashtag Shenmue was trending with 2,000 posts about 10 minutes ago.
Weird. It's not kind of the one we want to see, but
hey ho, we'll take it. So then moving on. Now this image, and it'll be on a little bit of a delay from James. This is an original sketch. Now when I say it's an original sketch, you could see on the paper that we scanned in the pen imprint on the back of the paper.
Yeah, just insane. In fact, so I've still got Nathan's here. This is one that Nathan's got. Let me see if I can show you on the camera. I'd have to go. Yeah, I found it. Okay. So let me try and show you on the camera, Matt. If you can.
Let me pop it up 2 seconds. Let me just get rid of my image viewer for everybody.
Or if you can make me full screen potentially for a second, I don't know. Right.
I might be able
to.
So
this is the artwork here. So it's it's proper paper, a little bit thinner. I'll see if I can angle it under the light there. You can see.
You can see the prints on it.
You can see the prints of. So there's a little bit there. Sorry, man. This stream's so delayed for me, so I don't really know what I'm looking at. But hopefully you can see what Matt's saying there. Awesome artwork. So they've used 3 different types of pen, and this kind of feels like sort of a biro quality to it, if you know what I mean. It's got that sort of, that's what you're feeling on the back, the imprint of a biro essentially,
which is mad, isn't it?
Just madness that you're talking 25 to 30 years ago someone originally hand drew that artwork, and I don't know if anyone wants to have a stab at who the characters are. We've got Shuing for sure, or who the other two are.
I don't know. The one on the top right looks like Jeffrey, doesn't he, a little bit?
Yeah, maybe. Or I don't know why I went so high pitched there. Maybe I was thinking, when I see it I think of like Dalin for some reason. But it probably isn't. Is that top right? I'd have to double check again. Is it someone testing a pen or a signature?
I'm not sure. It could be a signature.
It looks like someone testing a pen. I don't know, unless it's a Japanese style. Oh, I'm showing it to the camera. It's not on the screen.
Oh, yeah. I know. Yeah, top right. So yeah, it could be.
Top right.
Let me see if I can get you on. Hang on. Yeah. Bad handwriting.
It's either like bad handwriting, quick sort of signature, or someone testing the pen. I don't know. But amazing that it's hand drawn.
So that's there then. So that keeps us going. So let me then pull the image viewer back up, and we'll come on to the next image here when it lets me. Just bear with me. There we go. So we've got a nice one here of Nozomi. Just quite a cool image all the same. Not a huge amount to say here with it, just quite a nice image.
No, it's like promotional artwork that
never got
used. For some reason they didn't use on the cutting floor, yeah. But it's a really nice artwork all the same.
And then moving on, you've got one here of Zhuing. Very early character render.
I think I got that in Nozomi actually. I might even have that Shuing. Yeah, I've got that Shuing.
Oh, have you? Excellent. Let me pull you.
Quick check in my folder.
I can pull you on full screen if you want.
Go on then. It does have another image on the other side, Mark. I don't know.
Oh yeah, the image on the other side is fine. Yeah, so there's that render in full in the folder. which you can see there.
It's pretty cool.
That's pretty.
I've got that Nozomi one as well, which the printing is actually spectacular. I don't know how they managed some of the stuff that they've done. So some of the paper ones, honestly, I don't understand how they've got them so vibrant and so colourful. And the majority of them, right, Matt, are on this sort of photo quality.
They're on proper, like,
photo paper, sorry.
thick photo paper.
Yeah.
Let me put up the image viewer again. We'll move through the last few images. So the next one I've got here is a shot of Zhuing in a coat. It's a sketch, which...
Lovely.
I love that. I think I have that one. I have to have a look, but...
I feel like I've got that one as well, you know.
There was a few of them. Just going through...
Sort of showing... Oh, I've got a Zhuing in a coat, but... In fact, that one, actually, I did a swap with...
I've got the other image
I did a swap with David.
Where she's looking slightly
That
different.
one. I used to have that one, but because both of my shoeings that I wore had jackets on, and David actually had literally the same artwork, so there was a double of the same artwork twice. So I said, I might as well swap you that coat one for regular shoeing.
So there's that, and then moving on. You've then got a render here of, I'm not sure if it's a WoW or not at this point in time. We've got someone training in a dojo.
Yeah.
Again, it's pretty cool.
Love it.
And
Sort of looks like a beach outside, but I don't know.
does a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then here's a good one. I thought I'd show this one. We have a referee at the karate tournament.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely insane.
I think it's the same character in white in the.
Yeah, I think it probably is. I think you're probably right there.
Yeah. Just the hairstyle looks like that, doesn't it? So.
And then the last one I've got pulled up here is Nielsen's original design, which, if you look at Shenmue 3, that is what she looked like.
It's the same dress, isn't it?
It's the same dress and everything.
So, because if you think when we saw Nielsen in Shenmue 3, everyone was thinking, like, oh, I prefer the original outfit. That is the original outfit as well. So
yeah, it's that's just a little teaser of the images that we've got kicking around. I mean,
so there's about 400 artworks, isn't there?
Yeah, 404. I think we ended up scanning in total. 404. I'm not going to full screen myself because it'll cock up the bloody stream. But like,
yeah, no worries.
I don't know if people can see that there, but there's another one of Nielsen and a render there.
So there's like a third outfit, really, isn't there? Because there's one where she's got a hat on, isn't there?
Yes, I think I can't remember who got that one.
Here you go. My screen.
Let me full screen you.
The hat.
I'll full screen you. Hang on. So you got with the hat there, and then
the other side is we were thinking might be that Li Feng character.
Yeah.
It's like Sun in disguise, maybe.
It's very close, isn't it, in terms of the body posture and everything, and the composition. Yep. There, it's very, very, very close. So, again, I know we're teasing a little bit, and people are going to come and hunt us down probably, but everything is scanned, everything is pretty much touched up the way it needs to be. All the images are good. We're now just working on making sure that everything is released the way we want it to. So James is categorizing everything. That image is insane.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna have to full screen that as well.
That is literally my favorite item from the lot, just because it's so frameable, it's so colorful. I think I prefer this design than the one that they actually went with. In the end, try and get rid of that glare. So, yeah, just stunning in person as well. That looks so colourful. Like I'm looking at the difference between the screen and the colours just pop on the actual piece of art. Which I don't know. I'm just buzzing.
The
I don't know
stuff,
if you can tell, but I'm just buzzing.
the stuff there is insane. It's an absolute treasure trove of stuff. So as I was saying, everything's scanned in. James is categorizing everything up at the moment. We're working on the web page as well for it to be released properly.
Mm-hmm.
So
Ooh, so that's what I was going to mention. So we have actually. So in this artwork, there was quite a lot of like. I'll call them doubles. They weren't doubles as such. They were like slightly different poses, or in a sense, some of them were direct double copies. So we do have 3 artworks of Shenmue that we've put to one side that we're going to give away to you guys. So you've got a chance to own an original piece of artwork of Shenmue as well at some point. So essentially, timeline-wise, I was thinking, so we've got part 2 releasing next Saturday, part 3 2 weeks later, and then on that part 3, we're hoping to have the website ready to go. I'm trying to work on sort of a Shenmueing style where it's going to be quite detailed about like what's going on in this image. Here's this character in the main game, maybe a little bit of translation from Switch underneath if there's any Japanese on the artwork. So it's going to be hopefully a nice page to sort of soak in all of the new artworks. And then we're going to be doing sort of a series of podcasts, or I don't know, Matt, depends on it. I want to do it like a podcast. And then I was thinking what we might do is said podcast YouTube video. We'd sort of like ask people to leave a comment or something on the video, and then you entered in to win a piece of artwork. And
we draw it at random.
If we do split it into 3, because there's a lot of stuff to get through, I was thinking like we do 1 per video and just give people a chance to win some of this stuff as well, which I think is pretty cool.
So yeah, that's make them subscribe. Yeah, we're very tempted to. So that's where I just want to say thank you, Andy ACS, for the raid with 15 viewers. Thank you very much. You've just missed us going through the some teasers for the Shenmue character artwork from the auction that we have managed to buy and put together and scanned in. But I'm sure you can catch us on the old VOD as well with that one. So yes, that sort of wraps us for the artwork teases, I guess. But hopefully that will just whet the appetite a little bit and give us. We are going to release them. I will just reaffirm that they are going to be released in full on the website. Everything that we have scanned in will be available and has been digitized forever. We just ask for a little bit of patience while we get the website right. We categorize everything properly, and we want to release it in the best possible way, because we could have just chucked it all out and gone, here you go, thank you everybody, but we want, because it's such a volume of stuff that we want to make sure it's done in the right way, it's easily accessible, and then hopefully we just let it go to the Shenmue community and people can enjoy it for the rest of time. And you can download them all as well. I'll put the zips up for all the original scans, all the touched up images. Everything will be available to download off the website as well, so you can keep your own copies of it. All of that will be there. So essentially it's just going to be preserved
Preservation
forever.
at its finest, I guess.
That's the aim.
Essentially what we wanted to do, isn't it? Yeah.
Preserve this content forever. I'm just so glad that we managed to get hold of it, because I dread to think where it could have ended up. Probably in a basement, for all we know. We never seen
That's
it.
I mean, I bet there's loads. Perhaps someone dropped on at some point, you know, maybe sitting on Shenmue build, and it just happens to be sat somewhere in some dude's basement, and it's only for his eyes only kind of thing. Because, you know, it's a shame, because there's so many people out there that want to digest this content and see it, and you know, we've been waiting for so long for more Shenmue stuff. You know, it's been 5 years since Shenmue 3, over 5 years now since Shenmue 3. So just anything we can get our hands on is great for the community, great to sort of keep Shenmue spirits high. You know, that there's stuff in this content that is the future of the series, where the series is heading. Characters like Mao hopefully are still somewhere in Yu Suzuki's plans, because then even now, although it may feel a bit spoilery that we know this character, but seeing her now, I'm going to be like, oh my god, that is Mao. Do you know what I mean? It's not like it's a character like Shilling that's like it feels like a new character. This will feel like, oh my god, this is the original plan in action, and we're seeing the intended character Mao in Mongolia or whatever, happens in Shenmue 4 or 5, and it's just gonna be a mind-blowing moment, I think, seeing that in a future Shenmue title.
It's
More so now, I would say.
It's it's mind-blowing, isn't it, seeing all this stuff and the rabbit holes it opened up, and hopefully, maybe not for my bank account so much, but hopefully more of this stuff does appear and that we can get hold of it and preserve it. Because if the dojo gets hold of this stuff, it's getting preserved. It will be online, it will be available, and that will be it. There's no two ways about it. We're not,
as long as it's not like mentally story breaking, like these artwork final scene between Rio and, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Then it's a bit probably won't release that.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't sort of disrupt the future of the series in a sense, like, if it was written down, this is what I want as the ending of Shenmue, from like handwritten Yu Suzuki notes or something. Obviously, you'd never want that out publicly because we want Yu Suzuki to finish the story, not some handwritten notes leaked in a sense. But I don't see this as leaked because this is like,
and
artwork it's not particularly spoilery at all, actually, is it? It's nice to have.
And we've been through it, haven't we? We've been through it. We've made sure that there isn't anything spoilery in there to allow us to release everything in full. So if there was something spoilery, we wouldn't release it. It's as simple as that. It just wouldn't see the light of day. Thank you, Cameron Kirby, for the £2 through the super chat. Much appreciated.
Nice one, Cameron.
Thank you so much. So what we are going to do while we park those thoughts of the artwork and what's to come, and as I say, just like I say, bear with us a little bit while we just get things right. I'm sure everybody's itching to get hold of this stuff, but it will be out within probably the next 3 to 4 weeks, I would think so, all being well. We are going to play some Shenmue 2 and sort of chill out for the rest of the evenings. We've got a good hour or so. So we're going to chill out, play some Shenmue 2, play some arcade games. And I am going to open us up with a slightly different topic, but one that popped up on the dojo. Now, I don't know how true this is, because I didn't see it with my own eyes. But apparently, Inning Games on their Instagram account tweeted they had big plans for Shenmue 3, or posted, and then deleted it, then put the image up of Ren, which was out on Twitter earlier today. So the question is,
I've not seen this.
What are people's expectations for what's going to happen with Inning Games? And to answer Andy's question over AMT podcast, yes, we won all 3 of the auctions, and every image has been scanned and will be made available to the public. But that's where I'm going to lead us. Inning Games, what are people's expectations? James, where do you sit in terms of Inning Games and what they could and couldn't do?
Baisha? No. I'd not set my expectations that high. I think it's difficult to say, right? Because what can you get out of Shenmue 3 now? Can you get... Obviously, Limited Run Games did that complete edition.
Yes.
Apparently had all the DLC already on a disc. I don't know. I did read an article somewhere or on a Reddit post that said like some of that isn't on the disc. I don't know if it should all be on the disc, knowing Limited Run Games. I never actually tried it. But essentially, you'd want the same, right? You'd want the disc with all of the DLC as humanly possible, physical and digital versions of that. You'd want maybe like an enhanced version of it somewhat.
Ooh.
Is it like on Unreal 4, maybe like an Unreal 5 engine version of Shenmue 3 possible? Maybe some quality of life things, like either the removal of the stamina system or something a little bit better, some fixes to some stuff that fans wanted, maybe like that's where we found the scroll translation thing at the end, mistakes, a couple of little errors like that fixed and tidied up. Obviously one would assume ports to Switch or Switch 2, Xbox, pretty much a given at this point, I would say, because this sort of allows Wisnet and In Games to sort of do more than they could do under Deep Silver's belt. So it's a very positive situation. In Games taking over the Shenmue 3 license as such, and hopefully that then can feed into a potential Shenmue further down sales of this, or In Games could potentially be that partner that we've been seeking, or one of said partners, because of the dealings here with Shenmue 3. You know, it's a bit easier to get talks going for Shenmue 4 potentially, and maybe some other partners again if it requires more of a budget than In Games are potentially able to contribute towards. We can get a few people on board. I don't know why Sega don't just do it. We've said this a million times. It's crazy that we have to go through all these hoops and whatnot to sort of get a new Shenmue game. Considering it's clear there's still an audience here. We're sort of shouting, campaigning each and every month. A good number of us. I don't know what it would take from Sega. If they were to do something, it would need good marketing, because Shenmue never has any good marketing, in my opinion. Like the anime, it sort of just came and went, and there was such a missed opportunity with the anime that if Sega are reading numbers regarding the anime, if they're disappointed in any of the numbers at all, they've only kind of got them new. If you go down the street, if you go to someone that's like an avid anime fan, I bet even they don't know about Shenmue the animation, and the people that did know about it, obviously it was a great anime, rated highly, some great numbers on the actual Crunchyroll and live watching on Adult Swim, but in terms of like reaching a wider audience, there was such an opportunity there that just haphazard marketing, like literally the only marketing came from Adult Swim and Crunchyroll themselves, and you're talking that this is a Sega property. Why aren't Sega pushing this hard, or maybe not as hard, but on the same lines as the Sonic movie franchise? There's an opportunity there for Sega, who are delving into all these sort of transmedia properties now with Golden Axe, Streets of Rage, all these different types of movies that apparently they've got in the works, and they've got a property here that has a following, has an audience, a niche one, but it's a cult following, but there is an audience, and they can piggyback off of the Yakuza series. I've said this in the past. These Shenmue and Yakuza sort of going hand in hand in terms of how Yakuza wouldn't even exist without Shenmue.
Quite.
So I would market that. How big Yakuza is at the moment and how heavily that they're marketing Yakuza. Why don't they market Shenmue by referencing the Yakuza series and get the Yakuza fans that have never heard about Shenmue into Shenmue as well? Like I say, they could both coexist, and go hand in hand, and completely market the shit out of the anime. And such a missed opportunity. It's pretty much done and dusted now, and unfortunately that's the way of a Shenmue fan, that we're always sort of suffering from the lack of competence on people like Sega's part, or Deep Silver weren't particularly great at marketing Shenmue 3 either. They sort of just whipped it out, got it out, and then done and dusted it.
Yeah, quite.
Got it out of the, what I mean? And not to badmouth these companies, because I absolutely love Sega. I'm a Sega guy through and through, but just some of the decision making, or the lack of, regarding Shenmue in particular, just boggles the mind, man. It's
very odd.
We could be in such a better position than we are, and I know a lot of this marketing obviously does cost money in it, but then at the same time they've gone out of the way to make an anime series. So if you've made something, you have to believe in it until it's showing that it's a complete failure. And we know that Shenmue did really, really well. It was the #1 Crunchyroll exclusive at the time when they brought out those things, and that went up against, was it Blade Runner had an anime? So for Shenmue to come out above something like a property like Blade Runner shows the potential that it had, and just didn't capitalize on it.
No, they didn't. And it's crazy that the anime I don't know, for how good it was and what was done with it. I don't understand why Sega wouldn't have got behind it. It's like they just like, yeah, you can have the license.
The gym rant, actually, wasn't it?
There you go. It's less sweary.
But...
less sweary than my rants.
True. Can it be a rant if I don't swear? Maybe not.
Oh, I got balked music. I don't think I've got the oh, I know why. I haven't got the patches installed properly. Patches, the mods. I need to have a look at that. I'll fix it. Fix it another day.
Let's catch up on chat, guys. Sorry, we've sort of been neglecting the chats. We have been catching a couple of comments, but I can only go back so far. So I'll start when we were talking a little bit about the artworks here. So Ren and Mao have to be connected. That's according to Shenmue Village, which I agree with. We've seen artwork of Ren in his Mongolian outfit. We know his ties to the Mongolian horseback tribe, whatever it was, that was released on the Shenmue 1 and 2 Japanese website. Official profile for Ren mentions his Mongolian heritage, and Mao in her Mongolian outfit. There's got to be a connection there. Wonder if any art was potentially for Shenmue 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I mean, yeah, who knows? I mean, it's staggering to think what they actually designed in terms of like 3D rendering, conceptualizing artwork for stuff that isn't going to appear until much further down the line. Doesn't kind of make sense to me that these character models of Aldier, Yanlang, if they weren't actively working on that part of the game, like why would you make or go through the effort of making a character model that you know is like 3 games away? Like, it doesn't make sense, does it? It's not like the Resident Evil team are working on a character model for Resident Evil 10 when 9's not even out. Unless that's how video games work, I don't. I feel like there's some stuff here and that we've now played in Shenmue 3 that maybe exists on the Dreamcast or the Sega Saturn. I always say this, that Sega Saturn footage that was released on Shenmue 2, when you beat the game and it's in the files, and you see that shit, Sega Saturn footage of Shenmue when it goes all the way up to Shenmue 2, which was mind-blowing. I always think, have they even just edited that down to only show scenes from Shenmue 1 and 2, and in fact it goes further? But obviously they're not going to show that in the footage, because then that's real. If Shenmue 3 did happen, have they created Bailu Village on either the Sega Saturn or Dreamcast or Xbox or whatever? Does that exist somewhere? And that's the reason why these 3D renders of models from Shenmue 3 or from Bailu Village or from Niaowu, because they actually got that far in terms of development on those systems, for some reason never materialized because, you know, things broke down.
It's very there's stuff hidden, isn't there, that we don't know about, which is the scariest thing. But when you're seeing renders of like Yang Lang, LDR from the Dreamcast era, that says to me they had a plan. They had a plan.
Yeah.
It'd be very interesting to see if any of the rumours that happened over the years around the Dreamcast version would lend credence to it being true, or at least some sort of pre-production.
It does seem that way, doesn't it? And you think all the content that they cut out already, like the boat chapter, we've actually seen screenshots of Meow Village, Master there, what was going to be that little village there that somewhat resembles Bailu. So obviously back in the day we assumed that was Bailu Village, but it did come to light that that was Meow Village. That build exists somewhere, probably on a disc in someone's basement again. It's just like, even that little find recently, like going back a few months, Matt, of Zhang and South Main Quarter and, you know, Lotus Park or whatever.
Yeah, that Shenmue Park found,
Yeah, just these things like that they've obviously already made. It just depends how far along they actually got.
Scary, isn't it, really?
It is scary, because you think of Shenmue 3, I don't personally believe that it was ready to be released. I mean, I feel like they probably started work on for the Xbox.
Yeah, I don't think it was ready. No way.
The Kikizo sort of article would suggest that it was. I feel like we would have seen something had it have been that far along. But I do believe there's some stuff that does exist, and probably the reason why they can't just go back and finish what they already made off is because we're sort of past that now, aren't we? So
yeah,
when Shenmue 3 got announced, it had to be made from the ground up, from scratch on Unreal 4, because why would they go back and finish off a Dreamcast game or an original Xbox game? It's not the way a video game developer's mindset works. I wouldn't have thought. That's more like a side fan project to finish off something like that. But if you're actually releasing a third title in the series in 2019, you have to do it on Unreal 4, in my opinion. And I would assume that whatever they created back in the day inspired or influenced what they then did for a Shenmue 3 title.
Well, yeah, as we have, and we have evidence of that, don't we? With
we have evidence of that now, yeah.
With the artwork, so it's insane. Like I say, I dread to think what's still out there. I can't bloody
Hopefully
drive.
One day we discover everything that's, you know, all these little secrets and whatnot. You know, there's all these holy grail things of Shenmue. Actively seeking or hoping that one day we'll see like a Sega Saturn build of the game, or the Meow Village build of Shenmue 2, or the Network Jungle build of, you know, that little demo, the forest demo.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
That, you know, these things out there, or a Shenmue 3 build of stuff. You know, these. I'd hope these like survived CD-ROM discs or whatever of something that you pop into a developer machine, or, you know, eventually something like that might happen, like the Game Jam prototype might be available one day randomly, and that in a sense keeps the excitement out there that one day we could make these discoveries or whatever. Let me catch up on some of the chat then, guys. So these are some crazy discoveries. Can't believe the scale of that CGI render with Mao and Ren. It's huge. True. I've got it. Still got it as my desktop backdrop. Let me have a quick look at it. It's so nice. And the starry tears, whatever that means, from Mao, is that significant? It happens in a couple of the artworks there. I'd love one day to get to the point where she's introduced into the series and it all sort of makes sense now. Just the layers of Shenmue, like we've always had the chapter artwork to go off of and sort of think in your head of how the series might go, what's going to happen. We know it's not just going to be a simple Rio meets Landy, Rio beats Landy, game over, there's the end credits. It's not going to be as simple as that. There's like more to it. Then you've got the layer of like the Shenmue Online trailer with all the Dragon and Phoenix in the sky. Is that canon? Is that going to happen in the future? Ren in Rio's arms from that chapter tile artwork. Is that going to happen one day? And how does certain characters like Mao get introduced into the series? Does that mean that we are going to get to Mongolia at some point, or aspect going to come to us, wherever Rio and Ren might find themselves, partway across the Great Wall or in Shuzo? There's so much to come. Liu Wang, if we ever see any of that. Baish has been touted. There's all these locations that have been touted over the years. Kang Zhao we've got to get to at some point. Menkun and Kang Zhao, which is like, imagine playing that in a Shenmue 5 or whatever, if it's like towards the end of the series. This location that you're hearing Landy talk about in the opening cutscene of Shenmue 1, you're actually in.
You're there. That's what you want.
Realise this, you know, like the general public don't realise the depth to Shenmue and how, like, we're all sort of desiring these bits of play to exist. You know, we've had like artwork that have sort of suggested where the series might be headed, and within our sort of core niche
Fuck's sake.
fan base, where we're coming up with like theories about what might happen, that's where a lot of the passion and drive comes from for Shenmue. Like, I'm thinking of the mindset of like a typical people. Oh my god, they're still going on about Shenmue. You know, like all that RGT guy who was like, you know, just finish, just have like some fight with Landy, who don't really understand the depth of the Shenmue story. There's so much I want to find out about, and we just seem to be finding out more and more when we discover an artwork that has and these Mongolian ties, stuff that I probably wasn't even thinking about 6 months ago of ever existing in a future Shenmue title. I was thinking like, these locations are going to happen. We're going to learn about, you know, the Chiyo monster or the Dragon and the Phoenix.
Yeah,
some of the stuff that's been told in the games that we're sort of expecting, and then there's these curveball things that potentially could happen that I just never even thought about happening. That's what's exciting for me personally.
It's also crazy, I think, because they're gonna. Oh, I've done it again. They'll end up having to cut stuff because there's so much we don't know.
Unfortunately, that's the way it's going to have to go. Especially if they are going to just cut it down to 2 more games, Matt.
Wow, that's what he wants to do, isn't it? 2 more games. I don't know whether 2 more games is viable, but that's what he wants to get in everything that that he wants. And interestingly, I don't know if people saw it. Ryan Payton did a retro gaming shopping thing. I can't remember I can't remember the name of the channel now. And he confirmed he'd seen like stuff from Shenmue 4 in that interview.
Really?
Which I was like, bloody hell. I was like, fuck, I want to see this. Although we may have seen stuff from Shenmue 4 and we don't even know about it.
Well, that's true. If you think about some of the early Shenmue 3 screenshots, there was Mr. G on the Great Wall in one of the towers. So if anyone's ever been to the Great Wall, or they know every part of it's like a walkway, and then between them there's these towers. And one of the screenshots, or a couple of the screenshots, or even in one of the trailers, it's Rio and Mr. G inside one of these towers. So obviously, again, they've created further than the ending of Shenmue 3, because there's these things on the Great Wall of China, and we see Rio, Ren, and Shenhua walking across the Great Wall of China at the end of Shenmue 3. And they've designed, you know, further along than that.
I'm just having a look at Twitter to see if anything's come through.
Unless it was like placeholder stuff, I don't know.
Well, this is the thing. This is the richness of what's there is just what makes this, and what makes us want, as you say, so much more Shenmue content. It's just whether we get it is the $1 million question with all of it, isn't it? Is whether somebody somewhere, Inning Games or whoever, and I don't think Inning could do it on their own anyway. I don't think they're a big enough company, and I mean that with the greatest respect. Yeah,
but there's a chance.
But there is a chance. There's more of a chance now, and I think there's been for a long time.
Yeah.
Which,
you know, we've got this excitement of Inning Games coming on board and re-releasing Shenmue 3 to hopefully another audience. I don't know, what would you say is the intention behind this? There's a publishing deal available, you know, the exclusive deal that's ended after 5 years. That means, you know, that's pretty obvious. I think it was literally to the day, right?
Yeah, it was to the day.
So it was obvious that there was a 5-year exclusivity deal on Shenmue 3 being published by Deep Silver.
Correct.
And Inning Games coming along board, they must see an opportunity. What do you think that opportunity is, Matt? I think they're hoping it sells 1 million copies, an enhanced version of Shenmue 3 sells 1 million copies, or porting it to the Switch potentially opens it up to a new audience, porting it to the Xbox opens it up to a new audience. Are they expecting high numbers, or are they expecting what do you reckon the plan is for NN Games by publishing Shenmue 3? What do they actually want out of this release, would you say?
Well, they're Shenmue fans, aren't they? I'm going to pause this for a second because I don't want to be playing Excite QTE 2 while trying to think about this in my head. They are Shenmue fans, aren't they? Dennis Mendel, who's at the top of In and Strictly Limited, I think he's quite high up at United Games, who sort of overarchingly own these companies. He's a Shenmue fan. He's a big Dreamcast guy. He's probably a similar age to James and I, actually, from sort of looking at the stuff he tweets out and posts. So there's that element to it where there's a fan there who wants to do something with Shenmue, wants to try and move the series forward in the right way. And we've been quite lucky in the Shenmue community over the years. There's been fans in high places that have allowed us to get these things. When you think of Cedric with Shenmue 3, Jason DeMarco with the anime, for example, Ryan Payton with Shenmue 3 and the whole Kickstarter thing as well. And now Dennis and In Games. There's people who want Shenmue to be finished and are very vocal about that within the games industry. So there's always somebody fighting the corner in places that we can't, as a community, reach because we don't have the in to do it. So that's a real positive. But they're looking at it and going, so how can we make this a success? But they also need to look at it from a business perspective, don't they? What they can manage, what they can budget, and what they're looking for. So with In, I suspect, James, you're right, there'll be ports to other platforms. It makes sense. But then Sega need to get off their asses and port 1 and 2 to Switch. But that's a whole different conversation. But you're opening up a bigger market, aren't you? Especially on the Switch. That's a big market, the Switch. Massive market.
If, for example, Shenmue 3 gets released on the Switch, which you would assume it would do now, and it sells particularly well, despite not having a Shenmue 1 and 2, do you think that would then persuade Sega to revisit and port Shenmue 1 and 2 as well? Like, why would they?
They might do. They might do. Or they might say to In, do you want to publish it on there for us? And like take out almost carry out that work for them, get it ported over, and then see what happens with it.
I thought it would cost much, would you, to port 1 and 2? Because done there, it's been ported to Xbox. It's on PS4. It's like Switch is the only one that hasn't got Shenmue 1 and 2.
I mean,
even if it's not the power in the system, I mean, that seems mad. Gamers, but now it should have the power with the Switch 2, so they could do a port of Shenmue 1 and 2 on the Switch 2 at least, surely.
The problem they've got with the Switch, with Shenmue, is they haven't got triggers. Like, I've got a Switch Pro controller here, and they haven't got proper triggers on them. I don't know if you can sort of see that. They're not proper triggers, they're just buttons.
What's missing, though? What's missing?
So, for if you're going to run, you've either got run or not, whereas on an Xbox controller, you can quite clearly see there's triggers there. So you can gauge the run and the speed of that. So, right, but they can work. Yeah, I imagine
triggers.
Imagine they could work around
analog on the Switch. Surely they must be.
They're on or off. They're not like, you can't gauge pressure because, like, I'm pressing the trigger button now very lightly, and Rio's walking. But if I press it really hard, he'll run.
You can also make him jog as well, can't you? Like a halfway.
So, like, if I come out of here, look, just as a point. So
that was on the Dreamcast. That technology was on the Dream.
So you've got that there.
The Switch Pro controller doesn't have an app.
No. So that's me very lightly. That's then a jog. And then that's a full sprint. So, but the Switch doesn't have that as a control method for whatever reason. Well, now you could probably get round it by just having on or off, I guess. Yeah. But likewise with the zoom function is pretty much on and off with a trigger, because if I press it lightly, it sort of just does that. Like, it sort of comes in and out.
On the Dreamcast, it was a little bit more adaptable for how hard you were pressing it. Like that there, you've got it where it's sort of like slight zoom. But I do notice they're using the Shenmue 3 zoom, Shenmue 2 zoom, sorry.
Yeah.
So Shenmue 1 had the sort of slower zoom, in my opinion. You could look around. It was like easier to look around in Shenmue 1, in my opinion. Whereas Shenmue 2, as soon as you go in full screen zoom mode and you turn left and right, it's very snappy. And I actually noticed in the re-releases they incorporated that into Shenmue 1, so it's actually really snappy again now in Shenmue 1, which I personally don't like. I prefer it on the Dreamcast, where you got the sort of a more slower look speed. I don't know if anyone knows what I'm on about there, but the re-releases use the Shenmue 2 aspects and the Shenmue 1, so it can be very twitchy, I find, especially if you're trying to take a screenshot of something and you just want just tiny adjustment. It's sort of very twitchy.
So they could do it on a Switch from a control perspective. I just think you're not going to have the level of control over it that you would do on an Xbox or a PlayStation in terms of the triggers. Now, with a Switch 2, I'm guessing there'll be triggers on it. But if they were smart, they'd have got this out years ago and just sort of done it. But unfortunately, Sega, for whatever reason, decided it wasn't a good idea or wasn't worth the time to get it over to Switch. But when you've got a market of, 150 million have been sold of these things? Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, why wouldn't you? I love how everyone just put their umbrellas up then. Yeah, it doesn't make sense, does it really? I don't know if it's... was an article or something where it's like it couldn't run on the Switch for some I don't know. I feel like if they tried hard enough, they could get it to run.
I'm pretty sure it can. I'm pretty sure they can get it to work.
Why didn't the models load in then?
I don't know. I thought we'll give it up. We're going to play some Lucky Hit.
That's where I tend to go for gambling there.
It's quite a quick,
roll it on top.
Quite a quick jaunt, isn't it? Just go over there, do a bit of gambling.
$500 bets as well. Like
yeah.
Bet, I'll roll it on top.
Then just save scum if you lose.
Save scum, yeah. Let me catch up on some of the chat then, guys. So, still sort of where we're just looking at the pages. So it's like scanning in the original Bible. Do you reckon? This is kind of going back topic, but do you reckon there is still folders and folders and folders full of artwork?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh
god,
profile
yeah.
Pages. We don't have the last surviving stuff, like it's all been binned and like that. If they like someone owns it still at Sega or in Wisenet's offices or something, is it still existing like a Bible as such?
Like, I'm convinced.
You think so?
Utterly convinced there is more of this shit out there. It's just then a case of whether it shows its face. And I'm not sure, like, what happens there. I mean, I hope it doesn't for a little while, because I need to recover from the fucking purchase. And someone asked how much it was in chat a while ago, and I can't remember, but it racked up into thousands, didn't it? So...
yeah, it was pricey, which is why we split it, but... Scribe's asking, does the VF artwork have dates on it? I can't remember.
I don't know offhand. I'd have to look. Oh shit! Don't go that way. Don't go that way. Go that way.
I mean, there's a character here that I don't know if it's Shenmue or Virtua Fighter. I've got like an artwork here. I'll show it quickly, but this is like a very quick. I won't show this top bit actually, but this I don't know if it's Virtua Fighter or Shenmue, but it says 2000 at the bottom scrap. So it says 27 of the 6th, 2000. Just here where it's just under the OK. I don't know if that's Joy and someone else or Virtua Fighter artwork. I think I put that in the Virtua Fighter section. Didn't mean anything to me particularly. Don't know if that answers any questions at all. Virtua Fighter passport discs came in Shenmue 2 Japan, so that's true. So, you know, when they released Shenmue 2 on the Dreamcast in Japan, it had those Virtua Fighter 4 passport discs as well, didn't it?
Did, yeah.
You've got that version of it, but there's like a limited edition version that's got an extra couple of discs with Virtua Fighter 4. So that just shows you how in tandem. Picking it up there.
Hang on.
In sure there's like a little sort of passport disc at such. But two, is there two or
2 discs? Yeah.
yeah, Virtua Fighter 4. So that sort of shows you like you might it might sound strange, Virtua Fighter, a future console.
But yeah, it was there.
We're talking there 2001. Was it when Shenmue 2 was released originally in Japan? So they're actively working on both in tandem.
I'm too old to be leaning like that. Bloody hell!
Shenmue Village has early version of shoeing at some point, potentially. And some of these artworks might just end up being the same sort of character. Different fits. Like that one I'm thinking of where we weren't sure if it was Li Feng, like Niao Sun is in disguise. I mean, it could be another character, or it could be an original sketch. These different, I don't think I've got any of them, but these different artworks of Fang Mei, for example.
There's loads of them knocking around.
Yeah, different hairstyles, different outfits. So they're sort of nailing down the final design of Fang Mei.
Oh no. Oh, go away. I didn't mean to do that.
You should reveal them weekly, so Shenmue can live forever.
An image a week.
An image a week, imagine that. So 400 weeks. How long would that be? That'd be about 8 years, would it? 8 or 9 years.
8 or 9 years. 8 or 9 years of Shenmue content. Hopefully by that point we'd have finished things. I don't know, but
yeah.
But yeah.
But hat, yeah. I mean, hopefully one day we do see Niao Sun in a be cool.
This way. I want to play.
They've got that to play with there. They can, they can give her a couple of outfits. Like that one with the hat. I'll show it again.
That's a really
Obviously,
cool.
We have got artwork, yeah, but we have got artwork that was designed back in '96 or '98 or whenever these artworks were first conceptualized. But then this one with the hat, we've seen that in a very short, very bad quality video. I'd have to find it, dig it out, and link it, but on the Dreamcast,
yeah, I remember it.
Sort of an environment with snow. So this, for example, could be a winter outfit. And then in Shenmue 3 was sort of like April, May, June-ish. So just got more.
Come on. Oh, you bastard!
Is it scantily clad?
Yeah, scantily clad. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it's a weather-based thing that they've got going on. All Cheermen leaders. I mean, I wish we'd have had some artwork of that. Unless it's, that dude top. The image, the sketch. Nathan's with the different colours. One of them, maybe. I don't know. The girl on the right looks awesome. Yeah, so that must be the image.
To answer Renner's question, did we get anything you wish you didn't get, like reveals any story? No. We haven't got anything that reveals any sort of story stuff, which is quite nice.
Yeah, not too spoiler heavy, I don't think. Like none of it is like, I don't say nothing really, but it's like it's stuff that we've seen. It's nothing.
It's not going to ruin anything, is it? It's not. It's brilliant to have and brilliant to be preserved. But at the same time, there's nothing in there that would end the story or spoil the story for anyone. Had it have done, then obviously we wouldn't be releasing it. It's just we just wouldn't do it. The only time that had ever come to the light of day would be if Shenmue was therefore finished in video game form, or that is it. It is public. Shenmue game, whatever, done, not happening. They release the novels, in which case we would then release anything that was story spoilery, but we don't have anything anyway, so it doesn't actually matter.
Yeah. Well, they sort of just naturally conclude Shenmue. as intended. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so if they finish it, then like in the right way and it all gets done, then we will release stuff that if we had it, we would release it. That would be it, and then it'd just be preserved, and that would be where we ended up with it. But we've been quite lucky in some aspects that we haven't got anything like that ruins story stuff. I don't know if I'd necessarily want to know, but there we are.
Like, you'd like to, like everyone else, know as it's happening. So if there's a Shenmue 5, Shenmue 6 or something, and we're seeing the ending of the game, I'd like to naturally, like everyone else, know about that. Which I'm sure everyone would. You know, why would you want a page of spoilers right now, guys? It's
Oh,
as long
thank
as
you.
there's a chance, I'd always like to see it as originally intended.
Thank you for the sub, Brian Trusty, over on YouTube, by the way. Much appreciated. Just answer strictly Sega Europe. I did put this in the Discord. It's probably my fault for not announcing it more openly. But with the billboard, we've got the money back. It's sat in a bank account at the moment. So long story short, it took forever and a day to get the money back, but we got the money back. And James and I sat there and thought about it and thought, we're not going to use this company again. Because how much other bullshit have people gone through with all of this? Bearing in mind, we drove down to that place and we didn't see this once. So we got our money back. It's sat in an account, and what we need to discuss at some point is what we do with it to then do some sort of another publicity stuff. And we haven't got there yet. But the money's safe. We've got it. And it will be used for something stunty.
Yeah.
We just don't know.
We'll let you know as soon as we know, and if anyone's got any suggestions. New York Times idea originated from a stream chat room
Yeah.
thing, didn't it, like that, you know? So things like that, guys, if you've ever got an idea we could be doing as fans to sort of promote Shenmue to a wider audience, to have a stunt that could potentially go viral, let us know. I know back in the day, was it Team U sent all those capsule toys to Sega's office?
Yes.
You know, it's amazing. We'd love something like that. We've been thinking, the only thing we thought about recently is perhaps, because Matt was saying that the Sega offices are meant to be moving from that location to another location. So if it happens to be that there's another billboard company, like Matt says, we probably use the same company, because you don't really reuse stuff that you've been stung with the first time around. But if there's something else going on around there, maybe we could target the new location. Might be quite fun. Or we're not going to rush into it. I don't think you should just spend people's money willy-nilly for the sake of it. So we're going to make sure that whatever we do makes sense and is right for shouting about Shenmue 4. If, you know, say if things die down again, we've got in games which kind of like sort of originated around that time frame, so we were a little bit worried actually that the whole idea of the billboard thing might be overshadowed a little bit by what's happening within in-games anyway. So we're sort of targeting Sega, saying like, Sega make Shenmue 4, and on the left-hand side here we've got in-games that potentially could be making a Shenmue 4 behind the scenes that we don't know about. So it's sort of like a little bit of a clash of, I don't know what the
clash
word
of interest, isn't it?
like
Almost
clash of interests. Almost, we were sort of just verging over that clash of interest. Like I say, on one hand, you've got in-games that are just partner, who then may see the billboard blowing up, and we're saying like, "Come on, Sega." So it's not like "Come on in-games." It's "Come on, Sega." So they might have felt a bit, oh, you know, why don't they want us to do it all? I don't know. You know what I mean? These sort of things you have to sort of consider. You don't want to step on anyone's toes, but that's just circumstantially wise. That was happening at that time. We'd already pre-planned this like months in advance, so that just happened to have been a random thing that we weren't aware that was going to be happening. So now we can sort of again tailor something to, I don't know, something that could happen in the future. Like I honestly don't know what to say.
no,
Because we've not thought that far along yet.
no, we haven't, and it's difficult, isn't it? Because obviously we want to do something that's right. Sega didn't stop it, as far as we're aware, which is fine. Like
we would have known if Sega had stopped it, because they would have had a reason to say, oh, it didn't play because Sega or whatever. Whereas they said that it definitely did play. It played like
400 times or
over
something.
500 times or whatever. Which is then when we countered with, we've got physical footage. Look at this YouTube video of us actively, it's daytime and it goes to nighttime, and we didn't see it once. We were there for like 3 or 4 hours.
Something like that, yeah.
You sat in your car, staring at the board for like an hour, and it didn't pop up once. So you can't tell me that it played for 400 times, which would mean that it's actively playing like once a minute or whatever. Or once every couple of minutes. I don't know what that equates to. It's 60 minutes in an hour. Right? So if it's played 400 times, there's like at least a 10-hour span, for example, where it plays every other minute.
I think I worked it out. Over a 24-hour period, it's supposed to play every 7 minutes.
Okay.
So there's no way in hell, we wouldn't have seen it.
We were on the ground for 4 hours, and it didn't pop up once.
It's the biggest pile of shit ever.
Yeah. Which, you can't deny that, hence the refund.
It'd have been an interesting conversation had we not had that video, put it that way.
Yeah. Because how would we prove that it didn't play? And they can say, well, we've got the stats here.
Whereas...
We've got actual raw footage of it not playing.
Hard, like, proof. It was annoying, and it was a pain in the ass, and it took longer than I'd have liked to have sorted it out, I must admit.
Yeah.
But it did get sorted out in the end, and we've got the money. Someone suggested using it for the 25th of the Western release, which I wouldn't be against.
That's a good idea.
Wouldn't be against doing. It's what? Like, it needs something that's going to be visible. It needs something that's going to sort of make people stand up and go, holy fuck, Now, we could do that, and I don't think it's a bad avenue to go down. It's a really good avenue to go down. It's Nick of Heaven suggested it, in fact. It's just what? What's going to stand out? What's going to make the noise? What's going to go viral? Or hopefully go viral? That's what we need with something like this. And I don't really know.
It has to not be a waste, right? It has to go to...
Yeah.
A, make sense, and B, promote Shenmue, because that's what we wanted originally. We wanted something to go viral, or something to be so big enough that it brings on a new audience again. I always say it's whatever we can do to sort of make Shenmue, even if we get 5 new people into the series, job done. But when you've got a significant amount of money to actually do something to bring in, more like 500 people to the series, that would be fantastic.
I mean, you're not going to get the value that we got from Times Square in terms of money value again, because that was just ridiculous.
True.
But we've got...
The 25th idea is quite good. It just depends what we...
We've got enough money that we can do something good with. We just need to make sure it's good and it's right and it gets what we want out of it and what the Shenmue community want out of it. Because it's not our money at the end of the day. It's the Shenmue community's money that we're just holding on to until such a time as we can spend it. But we will obviously let people know what we're thinking about doing as part of it. But it's just what. We're doing some box carrying, so I've run out of money. I blew it all on Lucky Hit.
I'm still miles behind in the chat, but I just read a thing from Scribe, which is, pretty good point. He says, considering it's paper, it must have been stored, as all the artworks look uncreased and damp-free. So it has been really well maintained, these artworks.
Yeah.
When you think of it in that sense, there's no damage or anything at all. It's...
Get a bit of yellow in, but you take that, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, that could be because, there's I don't know if there still is, but there was a big smoky sort of culture in Japan.
Mm.
So that could have yellowed the paper even as early as when they were actually using that paper. Could have got yellowed back in those days. In fact, my wife did say it does smell a bit. I don't know if you noticed that, Matt.
I haven't.
Some of the artworks do have a bit of a scent. My wife picked up on it. She's like it smells a bit smoky. So
it is entirely possible in like smoky offices back in the day.
yeah. Oh, you look at that footage of He's sat there chain
smoking away in that office, and they were all doing it.
That was like back in the day when it was like okay to smoke indoors. It might even still be okay in some places. Smoke indoors. I don't know if they've got the same sort of laws.
I don't know in Japan. I don't know.
Missed part of the conversation. Did you guys win all the artwork or all of the auction? Definitely. George Kitchen says, Yusan told me that Landy summons Chio and fights you with 10 arms ahead of some spoilers there for you guys. Brandon has a good feeling about inning games. So Vivi, because you proposed a question to the chat room, guys, and I don't know if we ever actually... Vivi says, inning games expect an enhanced port 4K, PS5, Xbox Series release and DLC complete. 4K is a good shout.
Yeah.
Shenmue 3 on Xbox, pretty pleased. Quality of life changes like the stamina system. What do you think you could actually do to the stamina system to improve it? Like,
either turn it
maybe
off,
like not completely delete it,
or just like have it go.
Why do you think they'd have it as a toggle?
I think maybe have it go down like half or something like that, just slower, so you don't. It's not as invasive.
Yeah. I think it should be a separate bar. Personally.
I've always, yeah.
Yeah. So like the original games where you run, and you've got a stamina meter that, you know, like you think of Shenmue 1 when you're running around in the 70-man eventually. Rio is at a puff, isn't he? That type of vibe.
Yeah. So
I don't think it should be linked to health.
No, it's too invasive when it's linked to health. If they're then walking in on fights where you've got no health.
Yeah, it's daft. Corporal Wayne Hicks says, Ren playable side quest in Bailu Village. Would be nice to see. I don't know, because then that would like change a lot of the actual story for him to just suddenly appear in Bailu, so I don't know if they'd end up doing that.
The biggest thing is, well, we don't know what the budget is for this sort of thing. So it could be the budget doesn't allow for certain things.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see.
I think Andrew at Shenmue 2 podcast was kind of confirming that thing I'd read on Reddit that he says there was an update after the LRG release, unfortunately.
Okay.
So they've got a chance to have everything on a disc now, sure. Machine Gun Fist move back in. Really want to see Shenmue 3 on Xbox. Like I say, it's pretty much a given, I think.
I think they'll do it. I'd be surprised if they didn't, quite frankly.
I'd love to see more time with Neo-Sun, Clunky Mage says, maybe could. So, I mean, that is kind of a question. Do you think they'd go out the way to create new cutscenes?
Again, it's all budgetary, and also, how do you make it fit with the rest of the game?
Yeah.
It's tough, isn't it? I think most people's expectations will be around getting ports to Xbox and Switch. I think that's the minimum. That's I think what most people would want.
Yeah.
But
that's probably the easiest thing that they could do as well. Like, make sure it's out there for a wider audience, which makes sense.
I'd just be very interested as how what they're thinking the numbers will be on something like that, because you're not going to generate a massive amount of sales from PlayStation or PC, in my opinion. I could be very wrong on this, of course.
It's already available, isn't it? So.
So most people on those platforms will have bought it already. So what are they anticipating from Xbox or Switch if that's where it's going? What's the numbers? What's the break even? What then would trigger conversations around a Shenmue 4, for example? This is all stuff I can't answer.
It's difficult, isn't it? It is really difficult because, like I say, it's only been 5 years since a retro game that's coming back for the first time for ages. Like we were with the original. It's a game that's actively available right now on the same systems that we're playing today. So it's not like I mean, I know The Last of Us kind of did it with the Last of Us remake, Part 2, and re-releases of all that sort of stuff. That's like, it's not been too long since the original release. Graphics haven't enhanced that much. I mean, we have gone from Unreal 4 to 5 now in the span of 5 years.
There's a lot of tools with 5 that could be utilised, certainly in a 4.
Yeah. But essentially what I mean, it's not like it's a desirable remaster in a sense. It's essentially just going to be a re-release. So how desirable is that to people? I mean, obviously we're going to buy a couple of copies each. But when the game's already available right now today, say if they announce that Shenmue 3 is getting a re-release or a remaster or an enhanced version or whatever the in games are planning, who's going to think like, oh god, amazing news, like when they could just go on Steam and just buy it and download it right now. What's the incentive? There needs to be a little bit of an incentive, hopefully.
It's difficult, isn't it? It really is, because I don't know what they're thinking in terms of long term here, and oh bloody hell, it's gone all the way wrong. They must have a long term plan here. They can't not.
Like I'm personally expecting and hoping like obviously we're going to get like a physical release again. I'd have thought with like an in-games logo on there, because they're tied to like companies like Strictly Limited Games. That is part of their sort of family of companies. Actively, like a very physical game promotion sort of company, aren't they? They like the physical game, really expecting of whatever they've got planned for Shenmue 3. So maybe we'll get like a collector's edition again with like more different items than we got previously with limited run games. Hex and Love. Maybe there'll be like another one of that, which is again, it's sort of targeting current fans of Shenmue.
You've got to try and generate sales from two prongs. People who already have it to make them double dip, and then you've got to get new people involved. If you can do that, you've got some chance.
I think the Switch, going on Switch hardware with their user base, is a good idea.
Yeah.
Probably more so than Xbox. I know there's a lot of people that want it on Xbox. And essentially, like, Shenmue 2 was on Xbox, so I do get that. Like, a continuation of the game series on the console it was last on. I do get that. So if you've pretty much like a Microsoft enthusiast, you've never dipped into a Sony console, getting it on an Xbox hardware makes sense.
Absolutely.
But I do think Switch is the bigger platform. And again, it doesn't make sense that Shenmue 1 and 2 aren't there. But maybe, just maybe, there is a different type of audience on the Switch. You know, very much diehard Nintendo sort of fan base. That, you know, it's. I don't know if it's got the record yet or it's near to the PS2 record, but it is the biggest selling platform ever, kind of thing.
It's not far off, is it? If it's not already,
it's not far off. Yeah. So it'll be really, really interesting to see how people on the Nintendo Switch platform take a Shenmue title that they're going to be experiencing for the very first time, because it's never ever been on a Nintendo console. Like Sega Gaga says, they need to get Shenmue 1 and 2 on there ideally.
It's insane they haven't. I stand by it. I don't get the logic there.
And especially now, if there's another company that's going to be releasing Shenmue 3 on the Nintendo Switch, Sega should be thinking there is a marketable moment in time here that we can just re-release Shenmue 1 and 2. It's there, it's made, it just needs porting. Just needs like maybe a team of, I don't know how many people, maybe even like 5 people, or how many people would it take to port a game that's already been made to the Switch map? I haven't got the knowledge there.
I couldn't tell you. But like the team that worked on the D3T stuff wasn't big anyway. I think it was about a team of 20, and a lot of that work's been done.
Okay. Yeah.
So if that works,
in my opinion, it makes no sense to not just sign a couple of people or 5 people. Like, look, this is the coding, this is Shenmue 1 and 2, to capable people who actively port Sega games to the Switch. Use this code. You know, just instead of .exe, change it to .sw. Whatever they need to do
just
to get
say
it to run on the Switch.
Hit save and away you go.
Yeah, exactly. Surely it's that easy, isn't it?
I just don't get why they haven't. I can't understand it. You've got the biggest outside of the PlayStation. And it is a bigger market than PlayStation. Obviously, PS5 is about 70 million consoles out there, but obviously on PS4 they had a lot more. But you've got a massive market there that hasn't been tapped into.
It's mad. Like with Shenmue 3, it makes sense because you've got the Sony exclusivity, you've got the Epic Games exclusivity, you've got Deep Silver that potentially is this 5-year exclusivity. That kind of makes sense, okay? So it's on Sony platforms because Sony are involved. Shenmue 1 and 2, no one's got the exclusivity rights to it apart from Microsoft, PlayStation, PC, but only because it's ever been released on those consoles. It's not like Nintendo couldn't have it on their system. It's just that they never got around to porting it there, or for whatever reason didn't spend the
money to make it happen. Exactly.
But it's not because it can't happen because of an exclusivity deal or something. So in terms of Shenmue 1 and 2, it just makes no sense. And now Shenmue 3, exclusivity's down the drain, no longer matters, and they can release it on these other platforms. Even more, it makes no sense. Like today, that they wouldn't go out the way to make it happen.
It's very weird. It
is very weird.
Very, very weird.
Like I know Sega are busy, but surely there's got to be one person working at the company that has a say, that can say, like, look guys, you know, in sort of like a presentation, like a Monday meeting, just sort of like the footnotes of the meeting. I don't know if you guys are aware, but in games have got Shenmue 3's rights now, and they're going to be releasing it on the Switch, Xbox. Might it be beneficial? You know, Shenmue is our property at the end of the day. Might it be beneficial to release Shenmue 1 and 2 just to sign a couple of people to get that over there, and sort of we can sort of benefit from the Shenmue 3 being released there? Do you not think it might be worth doing?
Well, you'd think fucking so, wouldn't you? But you can't ever
think it would come up in some bloody meeting.
You just
They're
don't.
Not that oblivious to their own IPs.
I don't know about that. They've sat on Sega Rally for years and done nothing with it, which is really odd in itself. Here, Sega Rally.
It is, but then, Shenmue, this is something that's happening right now, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Within in-games, there's no way no one at Sega hasn't seen this news.
Of course they've seen the bloody news. They just choose to ignore it for whatever bloody reason. What's going on here?
So Clunky asked the question probably about an hour ago. Guys think that if there hadn't the 8 gap between Shenmue 2 and 3, we would have finished the series by now.
Probably.
Like, would the final game have been released by now if everything had gone to plan? I think if everything had gone to plan, definitely. I think there was originally like a plan that the Dreamcast was successful, that the series could have all been completed on the Dreamcast. And then when that changed, I think they even probably assumed that the Microsoft Xbox, if it took off on, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but if it did well on the Xbox, it would have continued on there as well. But again, Shenmue probably went on the least desirable console at the time.
Yeah.
Out the PS2, GameCube, and original Xbox. So if it had been released on the PS2, potentially
didn't really help themselves, did they, with that one?
No.
And we know it was functioning on the PlayStation.
Well, you look at everything that ever been released on your Yakuza, Virtua Fighter series, a little bit okay. Like Yakuza's taken off massive now. That was originally released on the PS2. Virtua Fighter at least had a 5th game, and then like 3 more iterations of the 5th game. It's getting another sequel. That continued on the PS hardware. There might be other examples, but I'm thinking of the Xbox. Everything they had pretty much killed that series. Jet Set Radio. It's only just been revived. Headhunter, like someone said, although that might have been on the PS2, I don't know. But I remember Headhunter Redemption on the Xbox. Gun Valkyrie. Never seen a sequel of that. Outrun. There's never been a sequel of that since, despite it being a very popular arcade classic. Sega GT pretty much died on the Xbox.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's loads more that I can't think off the top of my head, but yeah, Panzer Dragoon. I know we've had the remake, but that series essentially died on the Xbox. Whereas the PS2, at least some of the properties that Sega were working on did continue, and prime example, Yakuza's like been the most successful thing in recent years. So it could have been a different story.
Right, that's time we at. We're at 10:15, so we'll probably wrap up in a bit as well. Just to know, I think I called it earlier in the stream. There has been Shenmue trending on Twitter. Not the hashtag Let's Get Shenmue 4. Yeah, that may well come through later. Twitter's awful. But we have at least trended with the hashtag Shenmue, which is good and positive, so we'll keep that up.
If anyone does spot it though, guys, please let us know. We always want a screenshot of Let's Get Shenmue 4.
Yes, absolutely.
The sort of the current trending figure. Even if you've seen it like 3K, 4K, just please take a screenshot of it, because every little helps.
That's right. Stu said, don't worry. House of the Dead still lives on through those great remakes. They are fucking terrible. I'm sorry.
I've seen, who was it playing it the other day? I think it was the guy, what's that dude's name that played Dreams, like the big stream.
Maxi.
He's got a little bit of a beard.
Maximilian dude.
Maximilian dude, yeah. He played a demo of House of the Dead 2, and I just sort of started watching it, and I could already see how bad it was. Like, I don't know.
It was fucking terrible.
Maybe it plays better than it looks, but the first one was awful.
I bought the first one on Switch. It cost me 15 quid. And I was like, damn, I wasted 15 quid. And that's really sad.
It is sad because that is going to be some people's first. Instantly, it's going to feel like, why do people like this game? Because it's. I think the light gun maybe would have made a big difference if there was some way of using an actual light gun. But I don't know. I wasn't too keen on what they went for, and I was watching Maximilian Dude's stream, and they've re-recorded the English dub again, and it sounds even worse, in my opinion, than the actual one on the Dreamcast, the House of the Dead 2.
I will play the demo because I'm just interested to play it for myself. But the first, I've got it on Switch. Nah, I'm sorry, it sucked. And I hate saying that. If people got enjoyment out of it, fair play, carry on. But I nah, not for me.
It felt like a cheap remake, or like a one-person fan game sort of remake. Who, if they've tried the best, but it's not on the levels of a Sega released game, or what should be that sort of. It didn't feel that quality to me. Panzer Dragoon remake was kind of there actually.
It's alright.
I've not really
I
gone
enjoyed
back to
it.
it since. It's alright. It's not the worst remake I've ever played. But I'd still rather go back to the original Panzer Dragoon than play the remake. So I don't know what that says. Like, there's some remakes of games that maybe take over what you want to play. So I've not actually played it, but I'd probably say that the Last of Us remake, for example, is probably more worthwhile playing than digging out PS3 and playing the original. I don't know because I've not played it, but that's just my perception.
From a technical standpoint,
like,
it would be for sure.
Resident Evil 2 remake is a great game. It's not like it's a rehashed original. It's its own take. I think a remake probably needs to be its own take on the game for it to stand out there. Whereas these remakes are literally one for one. But even though some people might say that the graphics look better, to me they still look clunky, and the gameplay itself is nowhere near how great it was back on the Sega Saturn or in the arcade. But that has to be the one thing you get right in a remake. You can't just put like a little lick of paint over it, but the gameplay garbage.
I'm disappointed because I quite like House of the Dead myself, but just the remakes just didn't do it for me. And it's a shame. And people talk about like a Shenmue remake. If it ever happened, it would need, I think, to be a different, not like a fully different take, but it would need to be somebody's own interpretation of it, of the source material, much like the anime was.
So if you go off that digital foundation, whilst it's amazing to see that, and that they were actively working on a remake of the game at one, it didn't particularly excite me looking at the footage. Like, I didn't think like, oh my god, that is breathtaking. Like, I could tell it was a modern day budgetary remake of an incredible game. It didn't feel like it was like Shenmue levels, Dreamcast 1999. This is like the Shenmue title is like breathtaking, jaw-dropping. It didn't look like that to me. It just felt like maybe a smaller budget remake of what it could be a blessing that it never actually happened. I don't know, because it could have felt like a House of the Dead remake. Not to sort of suggest that from D3T. Like, I think the re-releases for the most part are pretty good. Like, I'd probably rather play the re-releases than boot up a Dreamcast and deal with the loading screens and all that sort of stuff. I feel like the re-releases did serve a purpose, and allows us to actively stream them. You know, these fan mods and sort of stuff like that. It is the easiest way to play the original Shenmue 1 and 2, and I don't know if the remake would have had that quality of wow, this is a groundbreaking title. This is Shenmue. This is how players from 1999 saw the future of video gaming. I don't think a remake could have captured that for a new audience, whereas at least the re-releases can still sort of capture that, because even if the graphics don't look great, the gameplay's great, the story's great, and people know who are playing it that this is a game, and the reason it looks like this is because it originated in 1999, whereas a remake has higher expectations. It needs to sort of meet, and it's not getting that with, say, House of the Dead. To me, it's not reaching the heights, even though it's quite good, the Panzer Dragoon. It still doesn't reach the heights. I'd still probably say go back and pick up a Sega Saturn and play the original Panzer Dragoon game, than go out your way to pick up a remake. I know a remake's probably easy to pick up for Panzer Dragoon, but I would still recommend the original over the remake. And we probably, and this is just me looking at the trailer for the Shenmue remake footage, probably be saying the same sort of thing. Go back and get yourself a Dreamcast and play the original Shenmue 1 and 2. Maybe. What do you think, Matt? Actually, that's an interesting question. I've never really thought about. Look, judging the remake footage, do you think it's got a quality there that it could have taken over the Dreamcast releases? Or do you think, just looking at it and knowing what we know now about Panzer Dragoon, maybe some of the remakes that I don't know about that Sega have done, do you feel like it might not have lived up to the original titles on Dreamcast, and we would be actively telling people
it's difficult, isn't it? Because I think, from an aesthetics point of view, I think it was literally just just remastered graphics. I don't think they were doing anything with the systems or anything from what I could see. So the game fundamentally would function like it does now. So you just put in a lick of paint essentially on an old game, which, oh bollocks, I've really cocked that up. Start again. Which isn't a bad thing with Shenmue, because I think the original games are that good you can do something like that. But there's a level of expectation around quality of life issues and other things that they should have done.
We didn't really see any character models, did we, apart from that?
No.
Like praying at the altar or whatever. Didn't look particularly great in my opinion, but obviously that plays up.
And it was early.
Maybe we could have judged it better if we'd have seen like proper remakes of the character.
And it was early footage, wasn't it? So it's hard to judge something like that. But I think from what I could see and what I understand from it, is that it was essentially just going to be a lick of paint, but the systems and the controls and everything would have been the same. So had the aesthetic look been good for everybody, it may well have overtaken the Dreamcast just because of the look of it. But whether, I don't know, whether it could have done is another question. I don't know. I'd have played it, I'd have bought it and all the rest of it without a doubt. Maybe that's all it would have needed, and people can sort of take the control scheme as it was, but I think there would have been a weight of expectation around how it controlled, because if you're putting a modern lick of paint on it, surely you should update the control system a little bit and make it more sort of interactive. I say interactive, but more analog based control rather than D-pad based controls and stuff like that. For fuck's sake. So I think there would have been a weight of expectation around it as well that maybe wouldn't have helped.
The UI that we've got in the releases, do you reckon that was remake UI that they utilised?
Well, from memory, looking at the footage, and I haven't got it in front of me. Fuck it. The footage had... I've just completely got this up. It had a very similar UI to what we've got here. So I suspect they lifted it. I'm pretty sure somewhere we've proved that as well. Or like the modders did.
Does sound familiar.
So not us particularly. That's well beyond our skill set. But... So
there's a gallery actually we've got on the dojo that's got like some old original files that were sort of left in the directories that Lemon Haze sort of found.
Yeah, he found them a few years ago, didn't he? Like 3-4 years ago.
I link that actually, just because it's quite interesting to see.
To make a point, Nick of Heavens, what about Dreamcast guy thinking it was an Xbox 360 version they pulled over? He's talking out his ass. That man has no clue. I know for a fact he's talking out his ass. But then he talks out his ass quite regularly, I think, from what I hear. I don't watch his content, I don't know him, but I just hear lots of people saying not very nice things about him. But on that subject, he's talking out of his backside.
Recently, he's gone downhill in my opinion. Anyway, not that I ever watched him in the first place, but I did feel like he was quite respected, and then recently he's gone for sort of clickbait sort of stuff, anti.
I know it's hard.
Who are we to judge?
I know it's hard to make money on YouTube, and people have to go and try and do that. But I don't know, some of his takes that I've heard and like clips I've seen, I'm just like, really, son? Really? But there we go. At least I beat the hype.
The next game answers some big questions. Quite vague. Like where we left off, especially at Shenmue 3, it's like, I don't know, sort of like you say, it is quite vague sort of ending. And especially now knowing that we're not even going across directly, we're going to Shuzo next.
Yeah.
So it's exciting because we don't know what's in store, but again, like quite a vague sort of Shenmue fan storyline time period. We don't know what's going to happen.
No, it's
Blessing in disguise, maybe. I don't know.
Hang on.
What happened to all the missing birds? I just assumed that was Landy's helicopter.
Scared them all off. We'll find out.
All the birds off. Yeah.
Fine.
Let me just quickly go through some of this chat, Max.
Yeah, no problem.
Behind, but I'll just speed run it now. Talking about the birds quite a bit. Thugs scared off the birds. Could be the thugs. Like I say, I think it's probably more likely to be land. I don't know if Rio and Shenful would have noticed a helicopter flying over Guilin, but then again, I think it happened a few days earlier.
Yeah, I think it probably did.
Yeah. Refresh the controls. Original 2 could be a good shout if they were to port it to the Switch. They'd have to do something like Matt was saying for the analog triggers. It's always a bit unclear. Did Niaus? So that's sort of like Bailu Village storyline. Who are the blue snakes working for? Or the blue spiders, sorry. Are they working for Landy? Or are they Niao Sons? I think they're working for Landy actually, aren't they? Because I'm sure someone says Yanlang, when he's been interrogated, mentions Landy.
I can't remember actually, that's a good point.
There's a question about who's your boss or something.
Yeah, Rio goes, who's your boss? And he goes, I'm not telling you. And then Shenhua fucks him up.
Yeah, I'm not telling you. Yeah. It might say like a dude in a Chinese outfit or something. And some bald guy talking about chai. Surely be able to get a Dreamcast game working on the Switch, Cameron says. Virtual Fighter History Dict has some concept art as well. I wonder if it's got some of the concept art that we've got then, Matt. If you use Virtual Fighter 4 discs.
Possibly, it's worth cross-referencing for sure. Yeah, I wouldn't.
Eric Kalsu back, someone says. Shenmue Premiere video.
I'd love a high quality video of that, you know.
Me too, man.
Just as a side point, I'd love a high quality video of that. That's what you want.
Yeah. When a Switch 2 is released as announced, we really need to push. Definitely agree with that. Got to the billboard stuff here. Just speed run some of this stuff. Weird doll you were talking about, Mike, the puppet briefly shown in the Project Berkeley. There is like a weird puppet thing, isn't there? What's that? That's sort of like the twins or the triplets. I do feel like I've seen a puppet version of one of them. I'd say 10, probably 15 years to finish the series before fans from the series start to fall out of gaming. You could argue that some people that originally grew up with Shenmue have fallen out. These people that I see occasionally that like didn't even realise that Shenmue 3 was ever a thing.
I know, that's scary in
Even, like
itself.
5 years later. Yeah. God, quite a way up here, guys. Actually, I didn't realise. I do appreciate all the comments, and I'm sorry that I haven't been able. All of them. We've been quite in depth, I think, tonight, just talking about different bits and bobs that I hopefully you appreciate. Yeah, I don't know, Matt. Don't know if you want me to keep reading because there's quite a lot of comments.
I'm just trying to see if we've trended anywhere very quickly, but I don't know.
Okay, while you're doing that, I'll keep going.
And then
so we must have been talking about in games, what people would like. Someone says restoring the boat chapter and Meow Village back. No, that can't be the in-game stuff because that'd be Shenmue 2 stuff. Season 2 of the anime could have some changes from Shenmue 3.
Yeah.
Definitely would need to flesh out Shenmue 3 stuff more. I definitely agree with that. Maybe putting Shenmue 3 on the Switch will give Sega the incentive to put 1 2 on there. I agree with that. And maybe poke Sega once that's happened to say, like, why on earth are you not releasing Shenmue 1 and 2 on there? Especially now that Shenmue 3 is on there. Like, I'd argue, I don't know how easy it is for NN Games to contact someone from Sega.
Oh,
they should really be suggesting to Sega.
Sorry, James, just to interrupt you. It's quite a funny screenshot from the Demon 1238 posted at 10:28, so about 10 minutes ago in the Discord.
Okay.
Hashtag Let's Get Shenmue 4 has trended with just under 6,000 posts, 5,955.
There we go.
So thank you very much.
Wanted.
There we go. We got what we wanted. Although if you go into the Discord and look at the image, it's fucking trended next to. Fuck me. Jesus Christ.
Let me see.
Oh, fucking hell.
What's it trended next to?
Have a look. Have a look.
Discord's a bit slow. Is it fucking Yakuza or Pancake?
No.
I did see Pancake down earlier there, and I it's not that it matters to anyone at all, but or today, and my wife and daughter have been eating pancakes, so I've missed out on the pancake day, but I did see that trending on Twitter.
I forgot it was Pancake Day, frankly.
Demon. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying now.
Yeah, if you're in our Discord, guys, have a look at the trending tweet.
I don't think that's original artwork. I may have missed that one when I was going through the folder. I don't recall that particular image.
I don't think it's in my folder either. Fucking hellfire. Oh my god.
But that is a good image to be able to share. We'll put that on the website.
We will. So again.
So yeah, just under 6K.
So we trended twice. Hashtag Shenmue trended earlier in the evening with 2,000 posts. The hashtag Let's Get Shenmue 4. I don't know why it does this, Twitter, because I've not seen any of this, but I've got proof. Just under 6,000 posts. So again, we're looking at 8,000 posts across the evening again, guys. So that is absolutely superb work once again from everybody in the Shenmue community. So that is 11 months in a row now, people. So April the 4th will be a year. That's the big one now. Get to a year trending. That's a good point to fucking put a line in the sand here.
Is that the 12th month, is it?
That is the 12th month.
I did see that we'd like the 10 months we've trended for, so it's nice to be able to continue that chain. I'm pretty sure without this image, we'd have known in the back of the heads we've trended. It's just getting Twitter to show that it's trended. So actually showing that it's trended means it's trended.
Yeah.
So we've trended for that 11th month, essentially. So if we can do it one more month, we've got a year. I think, we can spam Sega all you like, but if you're then saying to Sega, we've trended every single month for 12 months, a whole year, off the back of nothing, virtually, the Shenmue community has banded together and got Shenmue trending on Twitter, so much so that it's actively showing it in the list of trends. Do something, please.
Wow. No, I'm going to coin a phrase that I used a few months back. Sega, you bastards, are you watching? People will remember that.
He's got a more recent screenshot. It's probably a little bit more
PC and appropriate.
Screen,
Oh, yes.
Yeah, pop that on the screen.
And it's actually...
That's 59999.
Yeah, so it's near enough. Yeah, I'm going to grab that as well.
Matt will show this one on screen.
Yes,
actually a cool image. AI artwork, is it that? Actually?
Yeah, it is a bit of AI artwork. I don't mind AI artwork like that. It's fine. AI helped me massively with the recovery of the scans,
True,
so I have
actually,
a lot of time for it in that regard. AI generally, I can see the sort of upset around. But here we are, guys. Here is the proof. The hashtag Let's Get Shenmue 4, 5,999 posts. I expect that might creep up as well.
It's always a bit delayed, isn't it? So it's probably sitting at like more like...
Could be at 8. Yeah, it could be much higher. So we'll just see what comes through in the next few hours, and obviously it'll get posted anyway. But yeah, there we are. Trended again once more. 11 months in a row. There is the proof. There is the evidence that we have done it once more. And I say this in the videos, I say this in the content, and I'll say this again right now, that the fact that everybody keeps coming out, keeps pushing this, hasn't given up, and is stuck with it for nearly a year, obviously got the Indian stuff coming, is an absolute testament to each and every one of the Shenmue community who keeps coming out, who keeps pushing and getting behind the initiative that obviously it's been a long going one that James and I have really been pushing in the last year really, really hard. But you guys getting behind it means a lot. It means that you're there, you're pushing, and hopefully, just hopefully, we can get there. So thank you to everybody in the Shenmue community who keeps coming out, not just on the 4th of the month, but every day, tweeting Shenmue stuff, tweeting Shenmue posts, artwork, facts, whatever. It's all contributing to keeping this franchise alive and well, and hopefully leads us into a Shenmue 4, Shenmue 5, and God knows what else in between things as well. We will keep updating as the hashtag keeps trending, and hopefully the numbers go up and up and up. But otherwise, I'm going to bring us to a close here. We're coming up to quarter to 11 now, so we've been going a good nearly 3 hours. We are intending to stream Steel Paws when it comes out. I have the methods to do it off my phone. Okay. So I'm intending to stream it. I just need to make sure that I can get it to the quality that I want. That's the hard bit. But I've got a month to work that out, so we'll be okay there. So I'm looking to stream that. And then on the 4th of April, we'll be back, hopefully trending for a year. That's the next target now. Hashtag Let's Get Shenmue 4 trending on Twitter for a year. Let's make it a big, big one. I want 10,000 posts in one trend. That's what I want. We came so close in December. The billboard fucked us. I think had that happened, we'd have ended up at 10, 11, 12,000 posts in a hit. But it is what it is.
Easily.
But let's get the year. Let's celebrate the year by smashing that 10,000 posts on X. But also on Blue Sky, we've trended again. We trended in the top 30. That's higher than we trended last month over there as well. So we're building that momentum there as
top
well.
30.
Top 30. Yeah. Whereas previously it was like the top 50. So we're moving forward. Yeah. We're moving forward there as well. That's a growing platform.
Ooh. You've also got the BAFTAs potentially.
You do.
Definitely get on that, guys.
So
if anyone hasn't heard that,
I'm going to put the link in right now so people can get it. Hang on.
This is obviously a pie in the sky thing, but how sick would it be if Shenmue got a BAFTA?
It'd be absolutely bloody mental. I'm just going to get it off our main. Actually, I've got the link here. So for those of you who aren't aware, BAFTA are doing a award for the most influential video game of all time. Shenmue needs to be in that conversation. So all you need to do...
How would it not be?
All you need to do, I'm going to show you, I've done a video on YouTube, but for those of you who have missed the YouTube and want to have a very quick look right now, here is the website. That's the link you need. A little bit of a deluge your stuff. You just fill your details in, name, last name, what the game is, and why do you think this. Now put Shenmue, just Shenmue. Don't worry about Shenmue 2, because I think most people recognise the franchise just as Shenmue anyway. And then that'll hopefully give a bit more weight behind it. Now, I'm not saying Shenmue is going to win this. I'm not. And there's a lot of video games out there that probably have a stake to this claim as well, and rightly so. But let's get it in the conversation, because what's to say that they don't do an article on this and go, Game X has won. But actually, these were some notable mentions, and Shenmue's mentioned in that sense of the word as well.
Yeah, like a nomination maybe.
Yes, or something like that, or at least...
Nominations for most influential video game of all time are, I don't know, Shenmue, Halo, some other bollocks. And, you know, the winner is Resident Evil. I don't know, do you know what I mean? It's like sort of things, as long as Shenmue's mentioned at some point. That.
So that's what we're looking for there. So if you haven't done it already, the link is in the chat. Go ahead and do it. Easy to do. It takes you 5 seconds, 2 minutes. Really is a 2-minute job. Get Shenmue's name in that conversation as well. And how insane would it be if randomly Shenmue won that BAFTA? What would that do for the public image?
Who is actively filling these forms? You know what I mean? Like, arguably, what's the most influential game of all time? Probably talking like Pong, Tetris, or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, these random shit like that. But I can't, in my head, see thousands upon thousands of people sitting there, filling this form in, and putting Tetris in there. So I feel like we've got a little bit of an advantage in the sense that we are committed to the Shenmue series, and like if it's out there, like do this, do that, guys, you know, we tend to do it. So hopefully there's enough numbers of us to fill in this BAFTA's form that could get Shenmue mentioned at some point, more so than, I don't know, some other fan base for another said influential game. Because I maybe imagine like a lot of people like voting for common video games, like current video games, as influential, even though they're probably not as influential as other video games. But I do think we've got a slight advantage in the fact that we can sort of, I don't know what the best word is, persuade people.
Persuasion.
To fill in these forms.
And to answer Rona's question, yes, you can fill it in more than once.
Really? So you might as well just sit there.
Just putting it out there.
24-hour spans, guys, until the BAFTAs happen. Just keep filling it in. Maybe can someone do like a bit of a bot sort of thing, like a macro?
You might different name every time as well. I think they'd probably figure that one out. But
you think?
Yeah, I think there'd be something in there to stop it happening. But if people can use more than one account, there you go. Use more than one account and see what we get from it. And I think it'd be a good shout all the same. That closes on March the 20th. I don't know when the results are going to be announced, but we will push it again nearer the time. I will mention it in the video, and we'll mention it in podcast coming up as well. But there we go. On that note, I am going to bring us to a close. As I said at the top, and I said it in the middle, I'm going to say it again. Thank you to everybody who comes out, joins the content, enjoys the content, and supports Shenmue Dojo, and everything we're trying to do and put out. I feel like we're in a really good place as a community at the moment as well. Let's keep pushing. Let's make sure we're trending for 12 months in a row, a year next month as well. And let's see where we go. Let's see where the Shenmue name ends up in the coming months. But I've got a good feeling about this one. I'm not saying it's going to be Shenmue 4 or not. We have no idea. But I've got a good feeling we're in good hands at the moment. So let's stick around for the ride, see where we end up. And I'll be back, or James and I will be back with a stream towards the end of the month for Steel Pause, 4th of April for the next hashtag Let's Get Shenmue 4 stream. And we are looking to record a podcast ready to come out at some point this month. And the artworks we are working on behind the scenes, looking to get out as soon as we physically can, once we're happy with the website and how everything is all sorted and ready to go. But for now, guys, it's a goodbye from me.
It's a goodbye from me.
Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and all the usual places. And we'll be back in the not too distant future. And I'm going to take us out in the usual way. Take it easy, guys. Have a good one. And good night.
Cheers, guys.
It's 通り過ぎる海へつながるほど潮の香り運ぶよ愛しさが優しい嘘つかせる前に寂しさを今抱いてほしい